What are those?
Oh.
Is it going to make a noise? Let me fold it in.
What's the time?
4
Fuck me. Okay.
You have a curfew.
Who?
You.
No?
Hey, Pen, you're smiling. What's wrong?
I'm not smiling. Do you wear glasses now? Ngizok exposer.
Exposer.
Exposer. Ngizok exposer. Send jabs my way. I dare you. I double, triple dare you. You want to say something?
I ain't got none to say, sir.
I thought so. Thought so, nigga.
Good, everywhere.
We're rolling now.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to Konvo. I've got Ursula Mariani from the Conversation Capital. She's joining us for the second time. I'm very honored to host you again, Ursula. So one of the cool things that the Conversation Capital decided to do, which we're now biting here on Konvo, is they decided to ask their audience, or they requested questions from their audience to get them to ask questions to Ursula. So Ursula was like, I think this would be so cool if you were to do it on your show. And I was like, okay. And to humor her, and hopefully for the benefit of you guys as far as possible, she has come onto the show to come and read some of the questions that you guys have asked. I solicited some questions from you guys. I'm going to try and go through as many of them as possible, or we're going to try and go through as many of them as possible. So my answers are going to be as short and concise as possible. I cannot promise that the answers will be truthful, because in Khohlakele, I saw some of the questions out there on the socials. And because there are so many questions that came through, I know we won't be able to get through even 10% of them today. And maybe, depending on how this goes, we'll do it again, either on this platform or somewhere else. Or maybe I'll vlog on the platforms where I ask you guys the questions. Facebook, Twitter, of course, this is going on YouTube, maybe Instagram, and just post those, because clearly there's a desire for people to ask me things or to get me to answer certain things. And with that, I hand over to the amazing.
Hi.
Tebogo Kebine.
What?
You're so useless, actually. You're so useless.
Sorry. Welcome, Ursula. Please do your thing.
Hi, how are you doing, Pen?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
How are you feeling about this Q&A? I feel like you're a bit nervous.
No, I'm not at all. I watched your Q&A.
Yeah.
I saw how nervous you were, and we had a conversation where I was saying, I think the reason you like this thing so much is because it was very introspective for you. And you are like, nah, it's not even that. I know you're very sensitive about speaking about your personal life, your family and those things. I've probably been the opposite, where I've overshared. And I've had to learn the hard way, the harsh way, through getting burnt online, how people weaponize, this includes men, how people weaponize your sensitivity and vulnerability that you were hoping would help liberate other people. So I've had to learn to curate the things I say about my personal life, sadly, because some people actually have no boundaries when they share. But outside of that, I'm chilled. I'm just happy to have you here, and I wish we were chatting about TCC. I wish we were chatting about your life, how things have been since we first met, because we met, for the second time here, and you didn't want to be here. Your team, shout out to your team, Ubonga no Given, were like, please go. Penuel is a big deal. And you're like, okay, I'll go. And since then, I think we've built a beautiful relationship. I've told you many times, men and women are not friends at all. But you've really twisted my arm to a degree. And I want to appreciate you for that. And I appreciate you for your generosity, your authenticity. And I don't know, for seeing the human in me where other people see a beast, whatever that means. So thank you, which is probably why it's cool that you're the person doing this today, because you are a safe space. TCC is a safe space. So we're hoping to bring the safety of TCC here.
Thanks for saying that, actually. I've been feeling very, I hate that I'm not going into the questions, bit of a discussion, but I have been feeling very much like an advocate lately for podcasting responsibility, or podcasting in a responsible way. because a lot of podcasts are popping up and I actually love it. I love that people are getting involved. People are sharing their story. And for me, it's not about views or anything. I said in the last show that I had with you, it's all about digital documentation, like leave a footprint, let future generations know where our thoughts were, what we were thinking. Just put something out there, put out a book, put out a podcast, do what you need to do. But I've been feeling so like burdened with like being responsible with some of the information and some of the narratives that are painted using podcasts. What's your thought on that? Sorry, I know nobody else's question, but it just struck me as you were introducing. And you called TCC a safe space. We're really trying our best to keep it that way. What are your thoughts around podcasting?
Is it difficult for you?
Responsibility. I mean, there are many episodes, Pen, that we've refused to air because we felt that it was irresponsible of us. It was irresponsible of us to not protect the guest from some of the things they said. We had someone that wasn't in their right frame of mind one day. It was a really interesting show. And as soon as she left, she walked out and we looked at each other and we were like, we can't air that. And indeed, she was institutionalized 2 weeks later and we knew she wasn't okay. And so just, you know, sometimes sacrificing a good episode for the number, for the views, yeah. It's been a journey because sometimes you don't know still, because that's like, it's a perspective, right? Somebody else could be sitting saying, but what if we needed to hear that?
Yeah.
Or somebody else could be saying, who makes you judge of what's, you know? So it's been a very tricky space to navigate. And I don't know how you're doing it. And do you feel any weight to be responsible with the voice that you have? Because you've got a voice, you've got a big voice.
Hey, thank you so much. I've got a really thick skin and it's been developed over many years of taking hits in various aspects of my life. Never mind social media now. But I've come to realize that most people don't. And a lot of people struggle to filter themselves. They don't really understand the knock-on effects of what happens when you send things out there. A lot of it is pleasant. People are like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you had such a reach. But other people find themselves having to defend, no, I think your audience didn't understand. I'm like, it's okay. So when I listen to people speaking, whether it's with me or when I'm watching other podcasts, I cringe. Because I'm like, I don't know if you're aware of what you're doing to yourself. And there is something to be said about podcasters who are aware that a person is going to inflame in some way. And then they're just like, he's got, I want this one here. And you're like, really? But that's me. And because I try to be considerate, I never invite people here for clout or for views or because I'm hoping that somewhere they'll leak something that'll trend. But many other people are not like that. And over time, I'll mention podcast and chill. There'd be many potential guests that would refuse to go there because they were scared. They're like, the things you guys say and the what, next thing I'm trending. And you don't want to create that type of space depending on what you're trying to get out of it. And if you are trying to create that type of space, you almost want to say it out up front. That guys, we're here to drop. I mean, Free Musa is in prison. Musa Kaula is very upfront about the gossip and the what. So you can never be confused. Versus this gotcha type of podcasting of, hey, so your husband is cheating. Okay, like you said we were coming here to discuss my career and now. So I understand where you're coming from, but it can be nuanced. I just wish podcasters or whoever's responsible can be upfront, number one. And then number two, there's always a back end if it's not live. You can always ask the guest, look, there's things you said. Would you like us to edit it out? Are you comfortable with us? And if it's like, hey, Baba, you signed a waiver. Now we're dropping the thing no matter what. Meg G was saying recently, but then it came out later that they did drop the episode, but for paying members. That there was an episode just Java, I think they didn't air or something like that. And it's nice to have that type of consideration where possible. And I think for the guests as well, I know a lot of them maybe don't think about it. I hope they know. You can always afterwards, it doesn't matter if they paid for production or you can always afterwards be like, look, I'm not comfortable.
No shame. That's something that we tell our guests from the beginning so that they're comfortable when they sit in the seat. We give you up to a month. Like our editing, we only drop after a month. Like think about it. If there's anything you didn't want, often people are quite responsible on our platform. It's not that kind of But I think that really allows people to be comfortable. I know that we're not trying to catch them out and, because the idea is to get you vulnerable and sensitive. We have like food and drinks before we start shooting.
Where? Where? Where do you guys have food and drinks?
Just because you came on a bad day.
Oh.
So the TV Penuel
I came on a bad day. Bad day.
First of all, you're lying. When you were there with Penson, we were eating and drinking, so stop it. But yeah, basically, the whole idea is to get very comfortable. And so it shouldn't be a trap. Like that, I really do want you to be safe in that seat. And so I tell you, like, it will take a month before this airs. If there's anything you want us to cut out, let us know.
The number of episodes I've turned away. No lies, over 100 of people wanting to come and name and shame. And
yes.
I want to.
Yeah.
Some of those people ended up on other podcasts, which did insane numbers. And then they'd come back to me. You see, I told you I was gonna. In my head, I'm like, I don't think you know who I am and what I stand for. But I tell them, look, I'm glad that you found a platform where you can go and say whatever and you're happy with the result. But I don't want you to come here and it's like, hey, I want to tell you what Ursula did. Bring me on your platform. And I'm like, hey, you might get sued. You might get in trouble. Some people might harm you. Just be very, very thoughtful before you come here. And depending on what they want to say, I normally like buy time so that they end up almost getting over it. Because, people sometimes get themselves in trouble. But if you are that type of platform, which I think we also need, just be upfront. Be like, we're the type of space, if you want to drop
a bomb
or say, this is the spot, come drop it. And then we'll deal with other things after. Because sadly, a lot of people like that. But then also there's a lot of things that need to be shared that are in the dark, which I believe should be shared. But I just believe in a classy way of doing it.
I agree. Also, like, I remember there was this one person who had sent a message, and it was an interesting story. She was struggling with a gambling addiction. She like lost her family and whatever. And so I give her a call, like a pre-interview call. I said, hey man, tell me your story. Only to find this person is going through it now. Like she just lost her whatever things like a month ago. Then I said, no, ma'am, this is supposed to be a year or two later in reflection. You're going through it in real time. I don't want to do that to you. And she sent a message like maybe 6 months later. She's like, thank you so much for that. I was going through so much at the time. And I just wanted to like speak my heart and whatever. But I see how that was not the time to talk about it. Like I was still deep in the thick of it. So, but like you're saying, there are other, there is space for exposure and people doing the wrong thing.
Wrong thing. So judgy.
So does that then mean that, like the person you're speaking about, like, hi, how are you, ma'am? So does that then mean the person who's coming onto the platform, so they can't judge for themselves that what I'm about to say is an issue? Because remember, no one is saying go to a podcast. Someone is calling you, look, we'd love you for you to be a guest, and then you decide. So what does that then mean about the people that you've spoken to? Some of the people who've also had to edit some stuff. Some stuff didn't air. We never speak about those people. So I'm trying to figure out where is their own thought process for them when they make the decision to come onto the platform.
This is why I said, who makes you the judge right at the beginning? Because I get that question, right? It's almost to say my judgment of whether this is good for you or not. And who am I? What if you want to do it? But I feel like sometimes we're overridden by emotion. And sometimes if you can pick up that this isn't good for you in the long run, ma'am. I don't know. I just believe in like social responsibility and trying to protect people. By the way, you guys keep like changing up setup here and you guys are always switching things up. Well done.
No, thank you.
You're doing amazing.
Shout out to the team.
Can I make an assumption? The people that you're speaking of, that you would take a month to think about it, is it mostly females?
It's everyone.
Is it?
Yeah, we just want people to be comfortable.
No, I'm saying.
No, really, it's everyone. And like I said, we don't have controversial conversations. Okay. But you'll find sometimes we enter into like work politics. People are discussing their managers. And then I'm like, do you really want to talk about that?
Not a bad name for a podcast, controversial conversations.
Yeah.
Anyways, my answer to you is, if you believe you are an adult or more mature or you have more experience in the space and what's happened, and this person's podcast or coming as a guest for the first time, maybe you can take some leeway, especially if it's your platform. It's mine. It's like, hey, next thing I'm getting a strike on YouTube. Next thing there's lawsuits and those things. No. Or I've seen what's happened in the past where someone is like, I can't believe you aired that, you were exploiting my vulnerability because I wasn't okay. And you're like, I don't want to be dealing with this later. So I'd rather not. And it's wrong. But it's like, it's my platform, I can decide. Or it's my platform, I'm worried for you. Whether you feel my worry is warranted or not, that's how I feel. And I'll decide. You can, like I said, luckily there are so many other podcasts. Go on the others and live your best life. We won't judge as long as you're happy.
First question.
Hit.
I'm going to ask off YouTube. Can we do that? Because there's quite a lot. I'm just going to stick to one platform. Is that fine?
That's okay. So we're going to do YouTube. And like I said, maybe I'll do the other questions on other platforms because there's a lot. And what that tells me is that there's like a desire from people to know
this. Is what I was saying to you and I said you should do it.
Let's calm down. Let's hit, ma'am.
No offense, Penzo. Okay, wait. Let's see. The person's name is The All Round Culture TV. No offense, Penzo, but I would like you to explain more on how did your businesses fail? Considering that you are an accountant by profession, couldn't you have seen some of the financial decisions you took are going to lead your business to failure? Because I saw how you were interrogating Lagao on the Hustlers Corner a few years back, and it turned out that you were right. So how were you blindsided, especially with the knowledge that you possess? Praying hands.
Jeez. I'll start off by saying having a finance or accounting or economics degree almost means nothing in real business. Anyone who knows business will know that. The understanding of accounting would hopefully give me some type of advantage, which I'd like to think I had. What I didn't know, which I'd learned later, Vusi Tembekwayo did an interview with some gentleman on Instagram Live during COVID, when we couldn't move around. And this person spoke about the ability to know when to kill a business months or years in advance. I didn't have that experience. You don't learn that at school. That is something you learn in the school of hard knocks on the street. So I thought, and part of my mistake was thinking that, no, man, I'll find a way. Because when you have a business or when you're starting a business, you need a bit of delusion to be like, this will work. And in that delusion, sometimes some of your decision making is also delusional. I thought certain things would work. They didn't work. And it was when things were really, really bad that I then made a call. And I communicated with stakeholders that, look, things are bad. But that's the nature of business. You've got a situation with double Pick and Pay and the likes now who are struggling. These are businesses that have been around for a long time. And business is tough. The environment changes. The dynamics change. The people you work with change. You change. You might find that you're in a different space than you were when you started the business. So having an accounting degree may have had an advantage in terms of managing the finances. But in terms of the foresight of whether it won't work and what's going on, I needed to learn that there. And I've written a book. I read, I don't know if it's Own Your Way, Ian Furr, the founder of Sorbet. And I was inspired to then write my book on how my business failed, because there are so many books on business success. I think there are fewer books on business failure. And I think there's a lot to be learned on business failure. So I wrote The Rise and Fall of the NSC, which chronicles some of my failures for anyone that's interested.
Would you go back?
To business or to that specific business?
Both.
I was doing a lot at the time. So part of the lessons were doing too much at once. Rushing, impatience. Cost of living is one of the things that kills businesses. When you don't know how to manage your cost of living versus your income, you look at a Pakistani business spaza shop owner versus an ordinary Black South African spaza shop owner. The ordinary Black South African's got let's say it's a man, he's got a wife, he's got kids, they go to a certain school, they have a car, they still want to go out on weekends, and the Pakistani guy sleeps in the shop. He wears second-hand clothes. He maybe doesn't have a woman. He doesn't have a car. His cost of living is way lower. So even if they make the same income and the same profit margins, this business will be able to compound, whereas this one won't. But the book chronicles all of those lessons. I've gone back to some of those businesses in small ways, but part of my life journey has been like an algorithm, trying to figure out where is my energy best served, where am I most happy, where am I making the most impact, which is like Ikigai. I wouldn't go back to do it the way I did it, but I could help a lot of people and consult and advise in various ways. There was a reason why I started that type of business. There's a reason why I'm doing the work I'm doing now.
Do you think, I mean, not do you think, I know that you said this, you spoke about the insecurities that you have right now with regards to business and just the trauma sometimes that you carry. Nobody's asked this, but I think it's a good follow-up question. Are you intentionally trying to work on that? To be like, okay, I realize that I'm traumatized in this space, but I want to, I only know, so to that thing, to revive, thank you, to revive a very entrepreneurial spirit in me? Or are you saying I'm fine with the traumas and the insecurities, I don't want to go back into that space?
One of the chapters is on depression and the traumatic aspect of failing. Worse for people like myself, if you are like an A student and you are what, we're not used to failure. And sometimes when failure hits us, we're so not used to it that has a big hit. And my failure wasn't just business failure, it was people failure, because there were people that had been watching my life since I was a kid who invested in my business. And when my business went south, some of them very beautifully were like, look, we know you. We know you tried your best. Don't worry about it. And others that I thought were friends and almost like family were like, I always knew it. I always knew you were a fake guy and a scammer. I was just waiting for it. That hurt. I had a few death threats. I had some threats with lawyers. I remember the most traumatizing incident was a lady calling me crying, which might maybe also speak to why I don't like phone calls anymore. She called me crying, telling me that the money she'd invested in me was meant for her child's future. And the fact that I'd failed means I'd failed her child. And she's like, how do I look my child in the eyes and tell them that, like, you know, I invested with this guy and he lost? I don't think I've recovered. I can pretend like I have, but I haven't. And every now and then there are triggers, because you still see some of these people, speak to some of them. But I've been trying to carry on being positive and do other things. And part of that trauma is almost avoiding making similar decisions. Because one of the lessons I think in the book is be careful who you take money from. Don't say yes to anyone who wants to invest. They are dangerous people. You'll get investments from some mafia guys who might actually harm you. You might take investments because it's cool at the time from stokvel sabo koko. And then next thing you fail and abo koko are now dying and they can't bury each other and whatever. So moving forward, one of the things I learned is whenever I speak to potential investors in anything, I'm like, look, I will potentially lose your money. So please don't give me your life savings and your what. Invest whatever you're willing to lose. Otherwise, please don't. I'd rather not take it. And that becomes trauma. I don't know what happens over time because I've met a lot of business people.
Because nobody wants to invest in somebody that's saying something like that, right?
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But it's me also kind of protecting myself from the potential pain. Some of the business people I've spoken to over time are like, look, the sooner you get over that, the better. Because there are so many other potential investors in the future that will benefit so much if you keep taking the risks. And you're now denying them because you failed and it was small, whatever your failure was. And I'm like, it's like you must get over it. It's tough. Depends on your personality. Some guys don't care. But one of the key lessons was, if people don't know, especially first-time investors or novice, let them know that you can lose money. And if they feel some type of way, just say no, because you know better. So you're like, hey, don't put your money here. Go put it in a money market account. Go save it in a bank. Don't give it to me. And don't guarantee returns as well. So rather you'll get smaller monies, work with fewer people, but it's okay. It's okay.
What's the reason you don't go to banking? You wanted me to read the names. Atmo.b101 says, what's the reason you don't go back to banking besides being able to generate some sort of money online?
I worked for ABSA head office. I was headhunted into Standard Bank head office. At some point after my business failure, I did a stint at ABSA Private or ABSA Capital, one of the two in Sandton on Alice Lane. The beauty of, so I left because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, wanted to be rich and build a business. But I always knew in my heart of hearts that I wasn't built for a 9 to 5. I don't know where that came from. Leaving and failing in business is meant to be one of the wake-up calls. Bro, go back to work and stop this pie-in-the-sky dreams that you have. I struggled for a bit. Luckily, I had the maturity to be like, hey, let me dust myself off, dust my CV off, go back to a 9 to 5. I went back. I was getting paid good money. I had responsibilities, children. So I was like, it's not even about you, dog. Being in that space, I was almost relieved. I was happy. I was like, I'm actually now really, really sure that I shouldn't be here and I should be somewhere else. And what that did for me when I left again to go back into entrepreneurship or whatever it is that I'm doing now, it forced me to be like, I will curate my life in such a way that I can live on my terms. And make sure, of course, that I protect my kids in whatever way possible. But knowing that I don't have to go back there. But I'm not so arrogant that I would never go back if things were really, really bad. But it's not for me. I think I can make a bigger impact in my life doing something else. That's the only reason. If ever I really wanted money, I think, if ever I wake up tomorrow, I'm like, you know what, I actually really want to be rich. I'd probably go back to banking and then move from banking to private equity, from private equity and set up a hedge fund. And then I'd probably go global and be a venture capitalist once I have my own capital. Because I kind of know the cost of becoming wealthy like that. And the straightest path, if you want money, is to go to the place that has money, which is banking. So this is almost proof that that's not really my calling, at least for now. And that's why I'm not going back.
At Nino Niels, excuse me. Hey, Penuel, I really enjoy your content and podcast. Have you ever thought about taking podcast on the road or doing live shows? If not, what's been holding you back from doing that?
What's holding us back from going on the road?
You.
Oh.
No, okay, wait. Yeah.
I also feel like that's a Debza question.
No, we've spoken about it with
it's not a Debza question. He's actually right.
No, it's a pen question. We've spoken about it for years, man. I think in the first 6 months, because we're growing rapidly. And we're like, wait, man, let's take this thing on the road. We thought of doing it the library, then I don't know what happened there. We're like, no, let's get someone that can do events. Because Pen's like, this thing of eventing is a problem for me. So it's purely based on Pen. 70% it's Pen, 30% is us. As to why it hasn't been on the road.
The 30% being a technical reason when you say it's us?
Yeah, I think technically, not technical schedule more than anything. Because we've proven it with Orania.
Yeah,
but somewhere else? We haven't been anywhere else. Yeah, we've proven it with Orania. Even there, it was a thing for Pen as well, you know. So yeah, I think Pen is the right person to answer this one.
Do you suffer from social anxiety and meeting people?
I do.
Is that one of the reasons?
No.
I know that you do. That's why I asked. Okay, I knew.
You know nothing about my life.
Okay.
She knows nothing about my life.
Okay, excuse. Yeah. Yes.
It's only recently that I'm maybe 70% sure of what it is that I'm doing. I haven't really known what I was doing. That's why even now I still experiment with different studios, different formats, vlogging, and because I was just trying to wrap my head around what is it that I'm doing. I know what I wanted to do when I started, but I realized that this is almost virgin territory. And because of that, any idea that comes up, I'm sort of like, I'm not sure, and I hesitate. I also procrastinate a lot, and I overanalyze quite a lot. The reason we haven't been on the road, as what Debza correctly said, is just I haven't said let's do it. And once I do, then we can go on the road, regardless whether I'm working with Tribal or anyone else. And because I'm 70%, I think once I get to 85%, if being on the road or live shows is the calling, then so be it. Debza wanted us to do David Letterman, my next guest. That was his vision. Unote at some point also had an idea. This was before our podcast and Chill started hitting the road. And many other people have said, yeah, Baba, some of your guests, we'd also like to be in the room. We even spoke about getting a few people in the room too. So it's been me. But the fact that people have asked for it, it also is guest specific. Once I get to 85%, I'll either do it or I'll be very sure of why I don't do it.
Once you get to?
85% verification that I know what I'm doing.
Clarity.
Yeah.
Of a vision.
Yeah, clarity of vision.
At, I don't know how to say this person's name, Penelope, a girl, I think it's a girl. Anyway, she's asking on relationships. And she says, Pen, are you currently dating? ? Wait, she expands. You once said that you're seeing flames. How's it going today? You said story for another day. Are you still polygamous? If so, please explain. if your relationships are challenging, how do you choose women? And the last question that she snuck in there, do you still want kids? Because I do. Let's go.
Konjo, you're a voiceover artist. That's why you're doing all the expressions and the what and
It was such
as
a
if
nice
you wrote
way
it.
that she wrote it, though. She wrote it so well. I loved it.
That's about
You're sure that it's a woman?
I think so. Okay, it's
Is it based on the last question?
Pelopetizian. I think that's how you say it. Tizian. I don't
let's
know.
assume it's a girl, Pen.
Yeah,
you
especially
can assume
because
that
I
it's a man.
do, and that like flirty face, and she's like put like a little wink there.
There's a wink emoji.
Yeah, like a smile and a wink. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think it's a woman.
So one of the things I said to you in the build-up to this sit-down was, it's a skill to learn to not answer questions or to sidestep. I normally reference, and he's not the only one, but I normally reference him, ex-judge Jerome Gwenya. He runs Ngonyama Trust, neighbor from Newcastle. And he mentioned the importance of having an agenda when you go to an interview, because he was the advisor to the late king, Uzwelithini of the Zulus. Having an agenda when you go to an interview. You don't just go willy-nilly and be like, I wonder what they're going to ask me. What are you going there to say? It's a platform. And if it's a platform that's going overseas to a certain audience, be very sure of what you're going to say. But part of it was, don't entertain nonsense. So are you dating right now? No, relationships are very important. I think the family structure is one of the things that, is the cornerstone of a good society. I think all of us have a responsibility to, that's a skill. Yes, but are
It
you
is a skill.
dating? Oh, no, I think that's personal. Next question. Like, damn. Go through the questions again and I'll see what I'm answering and what I'm not.
Okay, she started with, are you currently dating? Then she
Am I
said,
currently dating? The short answer is yes.
Then she said, you once said you're seeing flames. How's that going?
I'm seeing less flames.
Are you still polygamous? If so, please explain.
So I don't believe in marriage. Therefore, it can't be polygamy. I used to speak about being polyamorous, having more than one girlfriend type of situation. I decided at some point that it's dangerous to speak about that part of my life, at least in that fashion as I used to. Same way, if I speak about my children, I need to curate what I say. So I will give a short answer of I'm dating. I cannot answer whether I'm polyamorous or not, even though people will assume I am. It's chilled. But polyamory is not something that I endorse for the average person, is what's important. And a big part of it is based on my personal experience and what I've seen just out there in terms of guys that have more than one partner. You must have a really, really strong why into why you want to have more than one partner. And you must be able to validate the scheduling, the responsibilities. A lot of guys who claim they want his tembu aren't really shouldering the weight of being responsible for another person. Not like a child. But have you proven your concept that I'm taking such great care of Ursula Mariani? We've got such a great relationship and our children are thriving and we're thriving, and yet I have so much free time. And I don't want to become a triathlete. I don't want to pick up a hobby. I don't want to start another business. I want to have another woman that I think I have enough capacity to treat like Ursula. Then if you can prove that, I don't think anyone should have an issue, including Ursula when she's kicking and screaming. It's like, Siswami, you're getting everything from this guy. So this almost has nothing to do with you. And there's almost no guy that can prove that at all. So as a general rule of thumb, unless uhlanya ngekhanda, of which many guys bayahlanya, including myself, you shouldn't be doing that stuff.
And if your relationships are challenging you, how do you choose women?
How do the women choose me?
Po.
Hey, wait, nah. There was someone who asked this earlier. Number one, decent looking is important for me. They were asking my spec, of which I normally say I don't have a type. Decent looking. And that
I
doesn't
ain't got
mean
no
good looking.
type.
Is that a song?
But
Is
the only thing that I like.
Come on, take it, tap. Hey, tap. Decent looking. This doesn't mean pretty at all. And luckily, I've got a portfolio to prove that I don't just go for good looking girls. You want to say some?
I looked at Dube.
Oh, no problem.
Dube and I had a moment.
Oh, Dube and you had a moment.
Absolutely.
Duba rise, Duba.
You know there are women out there who want to meet Sizwe Dube. Don't do what you're doing. Like say Intonam is available.
Trust me.
Forget
you
about Ursula.
want to meet Sizwe Dube. Trust me. Yeah.
Must be decent looking.
Okay.
Because that's normally the interview process. For most of us, generally, the person must be decent looking. Other people, obviously, they want to see flash, specifically girls, or I want to see how good looking his car is. Number 2, a good handle of English. This was proven in varsity.
What happened? My name is Waraya Ngege.
That's so judgy.
What happened? Tell us the story.
No, I mean really.
So judgy.
I mean, really.
Guys, he's the one that made it how is this?
You said my name.
You
Yes, I
said my
didn't.
name is. He didn't say anything about the English before he even finished his sentence.
Saying what happened? Okay, just what happened?
My name is.
I just want to know what turned him off. What did she say? Did she say hard L on the salmon? I don't know.
Huh?
Yeah. Hey, please continue.
Do I want to tell the story? No, I don't want to tell the story.
Okay.
No, I'll mention it briefly.
Okay. Good looking, average looking.
No, decent.
Decent looking.
Like not ugly. Let me say that. Maybe that's better. Not ugly. Yeah.
Okay. English.
One of my years at Rhodes, there was a lady who was arguably the prettiest lady on campus. Damn. She ticks the box of beautiful and hot, both, which is rare. And in terms of her mix, insane. I had a conversation with her once. And that conversation was difficult for me. And I was like, I don't want to be having chats with this lady.
Was that an intellectual conversation that you were struggling with her intellect, or was it English?
It
Because
was
people often...
It was both the intellectual bit and the accent. That's when I realized I'm shallow. And the accent.
Sure.
Because I used to fantasize about dating a woman that can't speak English at all. I used to have that fantasy. When someone's like, it's like dating a Spanish Latina hand that when she's angry, she's shouting, papi. And I'm like, hey, I think we're angry now. So I was imagining like dating, well, look, I'd understand, but she just speaks no English. Baba, what's thinking? What? I'm like, when this woman speaks Zulu or whatever. But it was proven that English is my preferred language. I am my most eloquent in English. I am potentially my most romantic in English. I love sarcasm, innuendos, and those things. And conversation, specifically for me and you, is huge. And if I can't articulate myself to the max with you and we can share a moment, and I'm going to struggle. The most difficult aspect that I'd look for in a woman is energy. Our energy has to vibe. So I can meet a good-looking woman, amazing English. This is probably why I struggle with like corporate girls and some of the girls who were studying like serious subjects at varsity. It's because I was like, the energy here. No, I'm going to be a corporate girl and what I'm going to build in my future. And I'm like, Then you meet this little autistic girl who was like, me and my husband, we're probably going to be. And I'm like, hey, I think I like this girl, man. When I'm around her, I just feel relaxed. Oh my gosh, do you know they ran out of coffee there? I mean, what are we going to do without coffee? And I'm like, that's what's stressing you. No, but seriously, like, it's such a problem. Like, this woman is losing her marbles over the fact that they ran out of coffee. I'm like, hey, no, I'm sorry, baby. I'll go get you coffee. Oh, really? You can do that for me? I'm like, yeah.
God damn, man.
These other girls, man. Anyways, yeah. So that's my spec, just generally.
He, she. You know those girls that confuse he and she. When she
pronouns. I struggle with that. Let me tell you a short story, and I apologize to this lady.
No, don't.
The first serious relationship. I won't mention her name. Come on, I'm a seasoned podcaster in the industry.
Come on.
So I'd know the nuances
when I
around.
make examples, you guys judge, but when you can make that example anyway, please continue.
No, Debza is trash, Valley. So we know this.
Okay.
When we're trying to protect you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Sure. It's the Debza influence. The first lady I dated seriously in high school used to write these love letters. I'm
already laughing.
No, pencil.
I used to correct them and then give them back to her.
Ah, you're such an ass.
I was like, I can't be with a lady like this and just let it be. I'm like, come on, sisters, you have to be representing.
But you guys are in high school.
Yeah, that's when your English really has to be top. Now your English is bad in high school. And she went to a good school.
Yeah.
Not like us who come
initially
from
she took
Tembisa
offense,
High.
and then it became like a thing where at some point the love letters were like, but my English is improved, ne? And I'm like, no. Type of situation. So yeah.
Well
Anyways.
done. Teachable moment. That's good. You need to correct people.
And
You can't just
I
accept
believe in
letters.
teaching your partner.
Fit. Akuna comma, akuna full stop.
Your
No.
woman's been with you for 5 years, but she knows nothing about the etiquette of mic management. And when someone speaks like this, and when she must sit and be like, I was with the Jane who's a pantsula, so I know what's cutting here.
Well,
Like, yeah, okay. But who's Daisy? But
You've
she
said
must represent you in
nothing.
the streets.
You've said nothing about intellect.
No.
Hmm.
And, I've had Nokolo Mhlongo here. And we spoke about the definitions of high value man, high value woman. And in the past, we've also spoken about what men value. And look, it differs here and there. But essentially, a woman's money, as an example, generally guys don't care about that. The quality of her conversation and her knowledge base.
Nope.
I can go get that from Mama Cheetah.
That's the thing.
Oh, why?
Men have got the ability to separate what a woman offers her. Like Mediaco. Long kaya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 6, 7, 8, I'll get it from a machi.
Somewhere else.
If I just respect me as the top thing, I'm one of those guys.
Respect.
Yeah, respect is the number one. There's a zinya, ngizokhuluma no pen politics.
Nurturing. And I'll add peace for a lot of guys, especially guys in high stressful spaces.
Yeah.
Whether it's your job or your business or whatever. The idea of coming home to stress.
That's the word. That's why men, sometimes they chill with their boys after work.
Or their side chicks.
Yeah. They're like, I'm not going to go home.
Do you think the two worlds can coexist where a woman can be very knowledgeable and respectful? Or is it usually when you meet a girl that's a bit of a know-it-all?
They're very rare.
You feel like, hey.
Ask that question again.
So you meet a girl who's like, oh, no, that's not how it works. 1 + 1 is 2, not 4. Is that annoying?
A know-it-all.
Yeah, like somebody that
You're asking a rhetorical question.
No, I'm asking, if you meet a woman who's quite knowledgeable,
Yes.
Is it a turn off?
No, for me, it's a huge turn on. But it mustn't be for me. It must be for her. Fethu, being with an intelligent woman is amazing. But she doesn't have to prove anything to you. I like you, you're my woman. When we're together, let's gossip about people. Oh, did you see her shoes were so ugly? But I'm like, do you know how smart this chick is? If you were to actually sit with her. Yeah, but don't be fooled by the giggling and the, oh my gosh, this place is so...
Is it offensive to you if you say 1 + 1 is 4 and your woman says 1 + 1 is 2?
It's about approach.
Is that offensive?
Approach.
Is it?
It's all about how she says it. Now, as similarly as Umchita, you can't be like, oh baby, come on, it's 2. Come. That's disrespectful. It's like, hey, it's Sami.
And umtshela madala side. Masesivaya.
So that she can also be, because you must protect your person, man. And men have fragile egos. That's the other thing. The most intelligent women are not the loud, knowledgeable women. The most intelligent women are the women that have figured mostly highly intelligent men out and are so masterful in manipulating them. I watch those women and I'm like, this woman will go very far in life because she realizes this is just a boy and he wants to feel like a big deal. But I'm going to get him to do everything that I want. But it's going to be his idea. Oh, babe, this house that you got us is so amazing. And your taste. And I'm just like, yeah, but I'm like, this woman is amazing. I can see women doing that. And even when I figure them out, I still appreciate the nuance, the maneuvering. To be like, are you sure? Are you what? I'm like, yang shashalo. But it's like a woman and a guy's macking. Okay, this one wants to get into my pants, this one. But the way he's like, hey, ntokazi, kodwa phela ngibona ngathi uphatheke kabi. Mhlawumbe mangasondela nje sikube. What's going on? Are you okay? What's happening?
That's so much.
You speak on me. Stop
I warned you
it.
about ukujampisa though.
How? What's a room not? We're not busy with smile.
So well.
How? How's that?
Whatever. Let's continue.
How? Penzo.
But he was also smiling and laughing, guys, screaming.
The girl is like, hey, young Shasha, I don't cheat. Like,
Mara,
oh, it's
what
so
can I
nice.
say? Yeah.
You're like, you realize this guy wants you. You're like, I know. Yeah. And if a man there's hitch, there's a point where she's speaking to her friend Will Smith's character has just taken on some island, and he'd messed up, and she's like, he messed up, and it's like, so you want to meet him again? He's like, but he did it like in such a, it's like, and you like that? You're like, yeah, weird, huh? You're like, you know the way you, hey, okay, man, hey, this guy. So similarly, when women are like doing that, she does like, hey, look, you know, when I was doing my BSc, and I'm like, hey, nango. But babe, look, yeah. Whatever you want, babe. It's nice. There must be that game. But when you're coming to be like, look, I know these things. I did a... You're like, no, I can't live
when you
with
come
this.
in, that's why more shela. Like what you're saying, Fit. Like there's this thing of more shelly cherry. Like let's say you're at a club and you want to go with her. Girls prefer guys who shasha and ton. Not a guy that's going to come in direct. Hey, Fit, if I do this, you're going to... No. Fellow,
are you fine? Do you need a lift?
Yeah.
I can get you an Uber or I can drive you.
Yeah.
No pressure. I just want to make sure you're okay. Yeah. Okay, if you don't mind driving me.
Yeah. Then when you drop her there, you leave her.
No. You have to leave her.
Yeah,
you be like, look, you're safe. So you're just gonna... No, I just want to make sure you're fine.
Yeah. Just send me a text.
Send
me a text before
Are you sure
you
you're
sleep?
fine? Just let your friends know that you're here, your family. Nah, don't worry about my friends. We can just do coffee.
Sure.
Look, I have to
Done.
go. I want to make sure that you're fine, and I don't want to be inappropriate.
Yo,
we don't really know each other that well. What do you mean
And
inappropriate?
she's thinking, oh my gosh, he didn't force it the first night. He's such a good man. Oh my goodness.
Come on, the boy's winning. Come on,
Random questions.
He's such a gentleman. Debs, you know the first night. I'm like, Debs.
Pen, do you really wear black 365 days a year? How are your kids doing? How's your mental health? I worry about you.
Why do you read like that?
What's
like
your
in
favorite
English class?
What's your favorite junk food? This is how they wrote it. Oh, and it's the same
This
person.
must be a woman asking.
Shame, it's the same
No, this kid there,
but shame,
no.
she's pushing, eh? You gotta...
But there were some other questions about kids. So the short answer is that I would like to have more kids. But yeah, initially the number was 20. I'm looking more at 10 now. So we'll see how it goes. I don't even know if I'll get to 10. To be honest, if I never have any more children, I'm actually okay.
I don't want to skip over this. How's your mental health? I worry about you.
Because you worry about that.
I worry about you, but a lot of people worry about you.
Is it?
You know, because you are vulnerable. You share that,
Because my mental health is not okay. I think mangathola ma e-wallet nje 065. But as mangathola ma e-wallet mental health yami yazi ngaba ngcono kanjani.
Ben, you speak about being depressed and this guy's a joke. How's your mental health?
You know, a lot of people are depressed because they broke.
True.
And I can take booster in mental health njengemali. Anyways, my mental health is fine. I'm constantly thinking about my life and constantly trying to become more efficient. More than anything. My kids are really doing great. They're thriving. And considering all the dynamics of my life and the complexities, I'd like to think myself and the moms are kind of holding it down in some way. More so the moms, by far. I have to give them a shout out for that. But my kids are great. And I'm still glad they love me very much, which makes me happy. There were other questions. Junk food, I don't think that's really important. Was there something else?
No,
It's okay. We can move.
Do you wear black all the time?
Oh, generally, yes. Generally, yes.
Do all your children attend schools whereby you pay?
Same person?
No.
Okay.
This was... Hey, I'm really struggling with the names here. Corbin du Venhage. I think it's a vendor name, possibly.
Dievenacher.
Is that how you pronounce it?
The Amerikaners. The Amerikaners.
Okay.
I think it's Dievenacher.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Dievenhage.
And here I am. I'm like, I think it's a vendor name. Okay. So, what was the... No. I don't want to read the first part because you've sort of answered it just around your career in accounting. So we'll... And then it says here, do all your children attend schools whereby you pay fees? I know some are still too young to be in school. If so, how do you afford all the fees for these children? Is your online profile generating enough money to realistically sustain this? These questions are not coming from a place of hate. Just genuinely curious. I enjoy your content, bro. Continue what you're doing.
Very, very, very important, great, and deep question. And even if it was coming from a place of hate, the decision to make children for everyone has to be in such a way that you're willing to take full responsibility. And I don't mean you and the other parents. I mean just you by yourself, in case anything were to happen. Generally, all my kids go to school. I contribute to all of them. I'll add an asterisk to that, but I contribute to all of them, asterisk. Am I contributing as best as I'd like to? The short answer is no. Would I be able to, I'll add this, would I be able to sustain my kids on my own if the moms were doing nothing? Yes. One of the conversations we're not having, specifically for men, is the danger of letting a woman dictate your child's lifestyle on your pocket. I think especially men, specifically, let's say, assuming standard, where the mom is mostly involved in the nurturing and the what, a guy needs to look at his budget and be like, this is what I can afford for my children. So I will let the mom know, this is what I can afford. Whether we live together, we're married, she's a housewife, whatever, this is me. If she happens to have more money, wants some certain dreams, that's fine. And you as a guy shouldn't feel any type of way because she's allowed. But you must be very firm on that, because there's a lot of guys that I know personally who are under a lot of pressure because they're trying to sustain lifestyles that they never chose for their kids, that their mom did. And it really messes up, including the kids in some ways, whether it's debt, they lose their job, and it's like, but you chose this lifestyle. The kids out of school, their self-esteem is knocked because dad can't afford these things, but he forced for me to be here. Pick your lane. I know my lane with my kids. My kids are living above my lane, and that's because of their moms, not because of me.
And we need to unpack why is that, because I know a few guys. My best friend is going through that, like my nigga that I grew up with, you know. And he's struggling with it because this lady just refuses to downgrade the child's lifestyle, like refuses.
On his pocket.
So they both don't work.
Who both don't work? The parents.
Yeah, the parents.
Damn.
But now when she was working, there was a point where they were both working, but their lifestyle was still high. And then she is not working, lifestyle is still high. There was a point where he was sending everything for like a year and a half to maintain that lifestyle. Now he's not working. And obviously, what some women do, it's like don't have access to the kid. That's a punishment that's happening with him now. And he's saying to her, look, like he started now, let's downgrade. The kid must go to a crèche opposite here. Why should they? Because if they go to Midrand or View because they live in Tembisa, that's transport money.
Yeah.
The crèche is very expensive. Let's downgrade. She's saying no. To a point where now the lady's even putting pressure on her own family to maintain the kid at that lifestyle. So that thing, we need to figure out why is it that women are okay with the fact that the men can afford, they also can afford, but they pressure. Is it because the schooling system has shown that, if a kid goes to a good school, you get a degree, then they can get work? Is that the reasoning? Or what is the reasoning? Like, why do you continue to suffer knowing that you can afford it? It's a big thing, this thing.
There's a lot of reasons, and almost all of them are valid depending on who you're asking.
Okay.
Yeah. But downgrading for the average person, this includes men.
Yeah.
People struggle. Number one is abantu bazothini. Number two is just a refusal to go back because I thought I was going somewhere. Now I'm like accepting defeat. But it's a psychological thing that people need to work on because it knocks them more to stay in those spaces. I'm lucky that I got financially literate very early, and I was knocked by life, and I studied my mom and I studied other people to be like, I will never have so much pride. I don't care who says what and feel some type of way. It's more important to have good mental health than to force a situation where next thing to Penuel agaseko, because he was trying to sustain something, his mind eventually caved. Because the mom or the moms were like, yeah, but you said this and you promised, and I can't tell them this is my situation, this is my reality. One of the exercises I do, I love traveling to townships. I love traveling to squatter camps. I, specifically in the areas that I'm in, know all the schools at all the levels, including no-fee schools and very expensive private schools. And I'm like, at any given time, with any given income that I might find myself in, my child will study here or here or here or here, and I'm kind of comfortable with all of them. I will live here or here or here or here, And I think psychologically, I can accept that. I will eat this, and whatever, which is why I'm like, my life is great because I know what 3 levels down looks like. And I'm also not scared of it. But most other people don't have that. And they suffer.
Immediately, I'm not a mom. But when you said it, sometimes there's this habit that men have to sort of demonize men, yes. Demonize women and their positions and, she wants to upgrade the lifestyle using the... Do you ever just look at the perspective that, like, she just wants the best for her kid? She
can't afford it.
Yeah, she can't, right? But she loves this kid and she just wants the best for her kid. And for her, it's by hook and it's by crook and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying
every woman, not every woman, generally most women definitely believe in that. And they're willing to suffer for their kids to have the best. It's just impractical. That's where you hope. Again, we're generalizing and I apologize. If not the woman, because there are many industrious women who are incredible problem solvers, like my mom. She'd have a side hustle, she'd work extra hours to give her child the best. And she wouldn't expect a man to do it, which is sad for her. And I wouldn't want that woman to go through that because she's depriving herself of so many good things. But she feels she's doing the best and it's okay. But in a situation where there's a guy and number one, don't put pressure on him. And you hope that the guy will be a voice of reason to be like, Sando Sami, I also want what's best for our kids. But the first thing that's what's best for our kids is for you and I to be okay. Because if you and I, for whatever reason, are under immense strain to a point where now we're taking drugs, you're prostituting yourself, I'm now stealing cars because we want what's best for our kids. At some point, Lentis was shy.
And it's not best for our kids in the
And it's not best for our kids. Next thing, their dad is in jail. Their mom now is whatever. And it's like, but we wanted what was best for you. And you're like, yo, you should have asked for advice. It didn't have to be like this. You could have maybe spoken to someone, gotten a bursary. You could have asked what. Maybe, look, have you visited the school? Now, my child, let's just visit the school. I just want you to see it. Hey, this school's not bad.
Penuel, but now you're speaking towards something that I know you're passionate about, around family structure. You're speaking of mom and dad that get along, that are in a relationship, that make decisions together. And the sort of, there's a reason that, men and women and the way men think and the way women think and how these two can merge, these two worlds merge and meet. Or whether it's, the woman's ability to dream big and push you to work harder and your ability to rein in some of the dreams because, reel it in, girl, we're, towing the line here. Life is quite difficult. And it's somewhere in the question. It really is just around, would you do things differently with regards to how many different mothers of the kids you have? Somebody asked like in quite detail. I hope I'm doing your question justice, whoever you are. Would you change the setup if you were to redo things? Would you have 7 kids with one mom rather? And I know you've been really on this like new like thought process of like fix the family unit or die trying.
Boom.
Right?
Shout out to 50.
And so, just with that in mind, the way your life has played out so far, would you change anything?
You don't have anything to add to the last question?
No, I think this exercise, let's go with the questions. It's fine.
You don't have anything to add? Just that part of the budgeting and the other. You have nothing else to say? I almost felt like there was something.
No.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things people struggle with, and it's okay, I don't blame them. It's how almost all of us are raised. One of the ways is we're taught to not embrace failure, especially as a way of learning. And some of us that have realized that this doesn't work are trying to rewire our thinking and train other people. Don't be scared of failure. Fail hard, fail aggressively, fail forward, and then learn from it. As an example. The other thing is people, for whatever reason, have been trained to almost believe that you must always be the same person throughout. And as soon as you change, and you're like, no, man, that was me then.
And
this is me now, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
Life has chapters and seasons, and it's whatever. I've been grappling with this question by myself over the last couple of weeks, if not months. And I introspect a lot, especially when my kids who are based overseas visit me. Something happens when they're here, and maybe it's because they're a bit older, and my son, my firstborn son, and my daughter, my first daughter, maybe because of their ages, we engage more And I almost get feedback now on how this thing is going, which then forces me to kind of engage and look at the other ones that are coming. I've got no regrets in terms of the having of my children. I love my children, all of them, technically equally, but I love all my children and I want what's best for them, and I'll continue to try where I can. I have made decisions in the past which have led to where I am now. And those decisions were informed by many things. And I've had to interrogate, what is this? Was it me? Did I think I was cool? Was I what? Was this irresponsible? Was it? And I have to be honest now and be like, hey, you know, at that time, I thought I was cool. Hey, at that time, I heard this woman. Hey, at that time, what? In that time, I was sober. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. So I felt I was making the right decision. But in retrospect, could I have done this differently? Especially because I've got kids growing, so I can warn them. Hey, when you get to this age, be careful of this. Bazofika Ursula Mariani, chazeke bekhuluma English. That's how I got stuck in and. Ideally, I feel like I'm about to lie. I don't have a concrete answer.
No.
Because I'm split in two, where there's a part of me that wishes if I could go back, I'd find one woman, we'd have our 3-4 kids, and we'd raise them together and have a standard life. And in that parallel universe, I'd also probably still be in banking or have a corporate job. I would have never left Christianity. I'd be doing things by the book. I'd have a lot of money. I'd be living in a nice house. My kids would be at a nice private school. We'd be a poster family. And it's very difficult for me to try and imagine how happy or sad I would be at that time, because I feel like I would have not been myself. I don't think it's who I am, by the way, sadly, but I could be wrong. Then there's another part of me that says there are things that are more important in life than the here and the now. And a part of it is the finding of a quality partner to procreate with. Because in the bigger scheme of life, that is more important than however you feel now and whatever else. And you're like, but that might lead to dysfunction. And it's like, that's a potential price to pay. But there's something that you're going to create here that is bigger than you, that is a bigger calling. And then I'm like, but I feel like I'm talking shit to myself. This is me just condoning atrocious, reckless, irresponsible behavior. So I'm splitting those two. What I will say, which has always been my stance, I never went out saying, let me go around impregnating different women. As much as people think that. Yeah, but when are you? And I'm like, I didn't wake up one year and go around impregnating women and now I've got kids. There's timestamps of when I had my first, second, third. And how in those times, because we are free now, the relationships ended. Whether I am to blame or the mom is to blame, I will take 90% of the blame. Relationships end. That friend that you're applauding, but he got married. He may have gotten divorced after 3 years. Yes, maybe he did better than me, face value. But the bottom line is it ended. And then you have to move on. No, since this didn't work, let me just stick to my little 2 kids and not go around. I'm like, I would like to have children. And maybe I'll carry that cross of being judged or whatever the case may be. But I do not have an issue with this. And I will try my best to mitigate whatever damage we will cause. But I do not have a concrete answer. If I was to go back in time, would I make the same decisions? I can't answer that because I'd be lying. But there's a side of me that would make different decisions. Then there's a side of me who would make the exact same decisions. Then there's a side of me who would have way more children now, would make way more women. And not out of disrespect for those women, but because I meet Ursula Mariani and I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to let this woman go without planting. Because this is going to be bigger than us. And when that child becomes Trevor Noah one day, or Drake, and people are what, I'm like, I kind of had an idea that this was coming, but you guys didn't see it and it's okay. You and your perfect little family of 2 average mediocre kids, they're not Trevor, they're not Drake, they're not Alicia Keys, they're not Shoma Josie. And that's just the dynamic. I don't know if that's how it will work out, but that's what I was hoping for. And if me and Ursula end up with 7 kids and it's just us, cool. If it doesn't, why would I stop? Because after Ursula, then I meet Ubonga. Then I meet, and I'm like, but it's tough. But I'm not a role model. And no one out there should copy my way because I don't think it's the right way. The right way is fix your family or die trying. So do as I say and not as I do, because if you're going to try and copy me, copy everything that I'm doing. Stop drinking. Stop drinking. Then don't copy what suits your agenda, because you don't know the struggles that I'm dealing with and how much pressure I can take, because you won't be able to handle that. You just saw that, which is my story for kids. But dad was swearing. Yeah, but dad also went to work and brought in money. Did you go and work and bring in money? Yeah, but I'm a kid. Aha, you're what? You're a kid. When you are bringing in money like dad, you can swear all you want. Don't pick and choose what suits you. Yeah, but are you willing to do alles? Otherwise, let it go. And I'm telling you now, the best thing is go find a good woman. Try as best as you can to build a nuclear family. If you are pucha somewhere, try where you can. But try and keep it here. And if you are like me, we can have a separate conversation on the side, because I've realized that speaking about people like me generally upsets and gaslights a lot of people because they just don't understand. And it's okay. It's okay.
Kamu mabuya. At what point did your relationship with God or Christianity, I felt this was a good segue because you even quoted a verse there, come to an end? What influenced your decision to walk away, knowing what you would have known back then about God, feels about beings claiming divinity? What convicted you to carry on with your God penuelism nonetheless? I don't know, but maybe you get it. How did you reconcile yourself to the stance you took?
How long have we been going for? I don't want to go for too long as well.
I think an hour.
An hour. We mustn't shut it down now. You've made a conscious decision
Is
to
the
try.
seat getting hot?
What's getting hot?
The seat, is it getting hot?
The heat. No, it's hot when it touches my children and romantic relationships.
Oh.
Everything else is so chilled. That one is hot, not because of me. I could speak about the mothers of my kids and mention their names and how our relationship went, but I have high respect for them.
That is one of the questions, but I knew you didn't want to talk about that.
I in my mistakes and my flops and my whatever, I need to try and protect and preserve them as much as possible, because it's about hlonipha. So even when I speak about my life, they end up catching straight bullets, and I'm like, but that was not the point. I was speaking about me, bash me. Now when you're going to be like, what kind of woman would, and you're like, this is disrespectful. This now makes me wish I never told you guys, and this is how you guys get other people to silence themselves. And then you realize there are so many of us out there, but we've all been silenced by people who also are in those dynamics.
You guys have water bottles now. That's really cool. You guys have water bottles now, Tribal Media House. You're really growing. Amazing.
When did you not have water bottles?
The last time I was here, there was no water bottles.
Maybe on the day you arrived.
Oh, my bad. Please continue. I'm so sorry.
You didn't have food for me when I came to TCC. Namanje sekenzela ifavor ngalamanzi lawa.
Ben, I'm so sorry to disturb you. I'm
nje
so sorry to disturb you. Please continue.
I need to protect and preserve, man, the mothers of my kids and my kids as much as possible. Because the world, unfortunately, is made up of a bunch of generally not so smart people who then project and whatever in various ways, and innocent people end up getting hurt. You guys don't speak about religion, or you've said you don't want to speak much about religion or become religion neutral. But you are a proud Christian woman, a child of the Most High, married to Jesus, JC. The question is, when did I leave God? And I almost feel like I left systems to find God, which people wouldn't understand, and it's okay. It intrigues me how we interpret the same story. You look at Jesus, your Savior, died for your sins, spread love, peace, solving problems, and I see that as well. but I see a rebel. I see a disruptor. I see a person who challenges authority and who actually vandalizes, goes to places of worship and is destroying things. I see someone who's hanging out with like shady characters that you judge and stick your nose up for. I see someone who went out there and was influential. I see someone who said something that was the craziest thing at the time. I'm God's son. Who the hell do you think you are? I'm God's son. He sent me here for you. Like, hey, it was also joy. And when you see someone else moving in a similar way, you don't recognize Jesus' traits in that. You see that as blasphemy. And it's like, this is weird. I'm not going around asking for people to be killed. I'm not doing hateful things. And if anything, I want good for people. But this package is not something you used to, but it's meant to be something you read about. I've done not a 360, but close to, where I read the Bible. I ended up being a very angry atheist. And I got to a point where I realized not all human beings are the same. And I need to be sensitive to that. The idea of teaching someone to be free and for someone to actually create an independent relationship with God and to make that relationship internal is something that less than 1% of the population has an ability to do. And for the rest of people, they need refuge, a safe space. And Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, etc., becomes a safe space for them. But for some of us, we have no choice but to move in the way that Abu Buddha, Nabo Jesu, Nabo Muhammad would move. And it was not favorable at the time, but it never is. It never is. So I know I'm in good company. And I know I'm a good person. So
do you think anybody thinks they're a bad person?
There are aspects of my life that I think are bad. Maybe other people could as well, I'm not sure. But I'd like to say, in terms of doing the work, if you are a Christian specifically, the work that your Christian God would like for you to do on this earth, I think I'm much closer than I ever was. Because I don't think, contrary to popular religious belief, I don't think the idea is to actually swim in religion and just praise and worship. I think it's actually doing the hard work.
Impact.
The type of impact that gets you to be like...
is that the idea behind like Penuelism community branches?
Part of it. But lose weight. You can't. I'm like, that's love. Because I know what lifestyle diseases are. Go speak to your dad. No, my dad is a what. Let me shake your mind up and ask certain questions that are uncomfortable. But what about this? And I'm like, I need you to be firm in your beliefs and not just regurgitate what you were told. Otherwise, I don't know if you're actually a believer in what you're saying. And you're just scared of what happens hereafter. You mustn't fear it. If there is an external Christian God out there and they come on Judgment Day, you mustn't be like, but I did everything right. It's like, no, you were pretending. You were pretending. Why is this Penuel guy here by your side? You're like, because in engaging me, he was brutal and brutally honest. And we arm wrestled because I was like, I need you to understand something. And he was like, but this doesn't make sense. Whereas you guys were like, oh, okay. It's like, I don't know if that's godlike, because the same Jesus Christ you praise never did that. They weren't just yes people. And some of God's favorite children, as it were, in the Bible, were not those people. They were people with doubts. They would be like, hey, Ntwana, I'm not going there. No, Shona Kona, Ntwana. Yeah, but the people say Shona Kona. And I think if you really want to be firm in your belief, you need to arm wrestle these things. And if you're not, it's probably why it's so easy for people to come and sway you into doing some weird things. They say that what led to atrocities like the Holocaust and whatever was people abiding more than anything. We've got the Christian Crusades. I don't know if it's called a jihad, but the Muslims as well at some point are involved in atrocities in spreading their message. And if you can't ask a question of, is this really what we should be doing? And you can't stand up firm and someone's like, yeah, but I'm your pastor, and you're like, hey, bro, I don't know. I don't think Jesus would have said yes to this. I'm not happy. Because of they're black and I'm white, therefore, because she's a woman and I'm a man, therefore, aye, Baba. Me, I don't know about that. Yeah, but Eve and Delilah. And you're like, hey, Baba, I know those stories, but hey, this guy that I'm meant to praise, this doesn't feel right to me. And if one day he descends from the heavens and is like, why were you letting women lead? Why would you let black people? You're like, hey, Baba, if you've got an issue with that, it's okay. Send me where you need to send me. But I clearly were not aligned, me and you. And that's okay. Because if you really wanted us to live in a certain way, whatever we were being told at that time didn't seem like it.
But as well, though, okay. Yeah. So.
Do you ever feel like, do you ever harbor like a sort of fear with being your highest point of contact? Like, let's say I'm stuck in traffic and I'm like, oh, Jesus, please help me. I need to get to wherever, not to say that God is a vending machine that you like throw in coins in, but do you ever feel, because you're the highest order that you submit to, that sort of, your limitations? And do you not see a gift in, like, I'm not talking about Jesus, I'm talking about anything bigger, like submitting to a higher power? Like, have you ever felt so down and out that God, Penuel, was not enough, and you're like, whatever God is out there, God of Muhammad, God of Jesus, somebody help me out.
Somebody intervene, please.
Have you ever felt that? Like, I just need something bigger than me right now.
You want to remember your point?
No, remember, you can go, sir.
Oh. I do not have all the answers. There's a meme or a tweet that says, if you cannot ask questions, then you're in a cult. And whenever I say things like, I'm God, oh, well, then you must. I'm like, the problem is you've been taught this narrative of what your supposed God is meant to be. Therefore, you're limited in how far you can go with things. I do not have all the answers, and I'm not even trying to have all the answers. In that knowledge, I am comfortable to surrender to so many elements. How you might interpret them is a higher power, or the universe, or whatever. My belief system, of which I also haven't even bought into it fully. I also have doubts, like, hey, I don't know about this Penuelism thing. You're God, but you're seeing flames here. How are you God? So I'm also trying to like convince myself that I am the source of my being, because I'm the only consciousness that I'm aware of. But in my lack of knowledge of self, I am the creator of my existence. So whatever I cannot control is because I cannot control it. I don't ascribe it to an external because I feel like I'm not taking accountability. I'm in the traffic because I chose to drive and I'm dealing with it, and it's okay. And there are things I cannot work around, and that's also okay. This is not me saying I can explain it. It's me saying I don't have all the answers, and it's fine. But to get to a point where I'm so desperate and someone's got a gun to my head and I'm like, yo, if there's a God out there, please, I'm begging you.
It's never happened?
Because I've gone through aggressive atheism, I borrow from that at some point. I'm like, if there's a God out there and you got me here, I don't ever want to meet you. I don't ever want to meet you. I'm okay. If this is a test or whatever, that's fine. But I don't want to pass this test. And you're like, you passed the test. I'm like, your father puts you through so much pain. Have you seen V for Vendetta?
Old movie.
V for Vendetta, the Wachowskis. You get put through this extreme test. And it's like, I did this because I love you, Job. The way I'm wired, whether I'm a broken human or I'm Satan's child or I'm a heathen, whatever you want to say it, whatever I've been put through, if someone comes and says, you see, you're strong now because of me, I'll be like, yo, thank you. That's really brilliant. You see, I'm the one. I'm like, I don't want you anywhere near me. Thank you for the strength and the what, but you're not the person I want to follow. Because this doesn't make sense in my being. I don't want this. God is the knower of all things, is the Alpha and the Omega. He knows why there was the transatlantic slave trade and why children are molested and the what. That's okay. You believe in that? You believe God knows everything. That's okay. I don't believe in that. I'm like, this consciousness that I'm seeing, if I can't effect change, it's okay. There's only so much I can do. But I don't ascribe it to something else. And worse, I'm not going to be like, no, that's not God. That's Satan. How? So there's things where he doesn't have power, or we decide, or I'm like, no, man, this in my head, my stupid human rational brain doesn't make sense. My levels of faith don't allow me to play in that realm. And I'm okay with being wrong. And it's not easy. It's not easy. You do hope for, I guess, what we call divine intervention. Like the person pulls the trigger and then it doesn't, hey, let's bomb this. And I'm like, I don't say that's God. I was in a car accident with my brother, my son at the time, who was very young, and some friends. And my mom and our neighbor, a lady, came to fetch us. And she's very religious. So the first thing she said to me is, one of the reasons you survived is because I'm sure at some point you lost consciousness and you weren't in control. That's when God took the wheel. I'm like, I was fully aware at all times. I was fully aware at all times of what was going on. I don't want to say the devil made me do it. No, I think this was God. This was me. And the God and Satan are within me. And I need to arm wrestle within myself to be godly, goodly, and to try and fight the evil. And if I can fight all of that externally, let it be. Because my view of what God and religion is starts from the premise of human. I believe that all our concepts of higher beings are because someone started telling us stories and we bought into it. And I'm like, I think I have the ability to reject a story. You might like it. I don't. Why do I have to be Zulu? Why do I have to be South African? No, but I'm like, that's good for you. I'm part of the less than 1% that's like, I'm one of the people that can create a South African nation. And I'm going to do it. And you may not like it, but it's okay.
Who's that guy that did that TED Talk? I think you're not
Yuval Noah Harari.
Yeah, he says the difference between animals and human beings is that animals can't be convinced into a story.
Fictional reality.
Whereas human beings can be convinced into anything.
Bitcoin, diamonds.
Anything, Christianity, anything, they can be convinced into it. Because at the COVID, anything that you believe in, we can trace it from somewhere. It's not like you're the first person to believe in that thing. We can trace that, in a family, there were people that believed in this thing, and it becomes generational.
So that's what makes you and I lost sheep. And maybe at some point we'll get a divine intervention and we'll convert. But for now, we're still lost sheep. And we're like, hey, don't send me home. I'm fine in the streets.
I really want to move on to the last question. But if you did have some supernatural experience, you take psychedelics one day and you see the heavens open and Jesus come down and say, my son, would you change your mind? Would you come back onto this platform and share your story and say, guys, I've had an encounter?
And then that image of Christ is the one that we see.
Would your Akizi man, it was an example. I actually shouldn't have used Christianity. I shouldn't have used Christianity, Buddha, whatever.
You're like, hey, divine intervention. I'm a believer.
I shouldn't have used the Christian, or, just God, a godly cloud. Say, Penuel, my son, you're getting it all wrong. Would you come onto this platform and share that?
I think I've proven that I would. For the fact that I'm saying that I went through aggressive atheism and I've come around. It's because in my journey of trying to at least figure myself out, where I thought people were stupid for buying into religion, I'm like, no, people need something to hold on to. And if that's something they're holding on to, and I ask them, the overwhelming bulk of it is goodness. It's not for me to question, because can I offer them an alternative? And I'm like, but this is a good person and it's okay. For other people who are misusing that same thing, I have an issue. So if I encountered whatever it may be, I'd probably be the first person to make a video about it. I'd probably be one of the first people. But if people that know me now should ask questions, because Kanye West, Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate, maybe I'll add Vusi Tembogwayo as well. I've consumed a lot of their content and I've listened to how they question the world. And for them overnight to all of a sudden be very holy, I don't buy it. I think it's convenient. I can become Christian next year and speak at all the churches and how I found Jesus and Christ and I'm now protected and I'm now blood washed. And I was a lost sheep and the Lord found me and I was so fallible. I thought I was my own God. Imagine, guys, I thought I was a God. I'd want anyone who knew me to be like, we hear him, it's cool, but please just watch your back because this guy warned us. Is he making more money now than he did then? Who is he sitting with now that he didn't at the time? Has he been accused of a heinous crime? No, the devil, I realize. Just watch and ask a few questions because that's how my brain works. And for the weird people like me, I'm like, do the same. Stay woke. Be on your toes because this world is run by people with agendas.
Gun to your head, you had to be part of a religion today, not Penuelism. Which religion?
In South Africa.
Anyway.
In South Africa.
African spirituality, Buddhism, Baha'i, Christianity.
So I had like an immediate answer, but then I recoiled. But Islam in South Africa.
Was that the immediate answer?
That was the immediate answer. I think the way Islam is run in South Africa, I think it's the number one religion that would help so many Black African families. Islam. There are so many things about it that are so beautiful. It has problems in certain parts of the world, but in the South African context, number one for a lot of guys, things like polygamy, and it's practiced clean. It's not now whatever. The idea of women who are still old school women, nurturing the kids and generally stay at home, submit, what. The guys are head of the house. Muslim men in South Africa go out to go and hustle for their families and they build. They pray 5 times a day. They don't drink. Alcohol is a huge problem in our country. They disciplined. They work together. I think Christianity in South Africa is too relaxed. It's too liberal. Islam is dope. I almost recalled because I thought of Judaism. But then I thought of, even things like how beautiful our Black women are. A game changer. One of the things next to alcoholism we don't speak about is sexualization and casual sex. I think it's one of the drugs that's actually part of our downfall. The idea of covering the majority of Black women would take away all of those things. We'd probably have to watch porn or whatever. But you cover Black women. Now all your carnal desires are shut down. And you can focus because the women are covered. All of a sudden, you just have to respect them. Black guys outside of other groups, the way a Black guy engages a Muslim woman versus an average Black woman
You can't even
already
compare.
tells you a lot.
Yep.
Where you'll be like, Black men are so disrespectful. Bring a Muslim woman in front of him. And watch what happens. That same disrespectful guy.
Yeah.
In the same way, when you find a rural girl, or zotile, or hloniphayo, that same disrespectful guy, game changer.
Can I give you an example? I was with Pen. We met a Muslim woman who said, I really enjoy your content. And he said, can I shake your hand? In my heart, I was like, you shake my hand without asking me. So you're so right. There's this level of respect that's,
It's there.
yeah, that's offered. And I don't know if that's a good thing.
They're not the only ones. But
in
I'm
the
just
sense
saying,
that you should be offering respect to all of us.
No,
I offer respect to everyone.
But he's right.
Next
okay,
question.
Okay.
But you want to say something?
Is this the last question?
No,
You
I
wanna
just
say
want to. Damn it! I don't know. Yeah.
Get in there. Get in there.
No, just. Yeah, I mean, when a religion can be disrespected anytime, it's not the one. I mean, Christianity can be disrespected anytime.
All of us
Anyone-
disrespected. Make examples
anyone
about
can say
Jesus, but we don't
Yeah.
do the same with Muhammad. Not because of necessarily the religion,
Yeah.
but the people who are the custodians of it.
Yeah. Even the people who hold it up are the most destructive human beings in South Africa, I would argue. Whether it's politicians, whether it's girls, everyone would just, I'm a Christian. But hey, man, during the week and weekend, you are a baddie. You're just a horrible human being. So it's like, you're right. And if they say you have to choose, I think most men wouldn't go with Christianity, most men. Because the level of respect.
If we're being honest.
Yeah, no, if you're being fully honest. Yeah, you're correct.
At least in the South African context. I can't speak about Islam in other spaces where there's like stoning of women that cheat and some of the misogyny of some of the men, the stories we've heard, etc. But my little experience in South Africa, if I had to pick one, not that I'm picking it, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be that, and then followed by Judaism.
You speak of respecting religions, and I agree with this with regards to, anybody can say anything about Christians and like there be nothing, like no repercussions whatsoever. Do you think the concept, which I think is overinflated with the media, but the concept of suicide bombings, I'll die for Allah, make people a bit fearful to just
which people?
speak
Black people?
anyhow, people to just speak anyhow about the Muslim religion? Do you think that has or do you think it's specifically just how they carry themselves and how they honor their God?
So for South African men, I would say it's how they honor their God. Here in South Africa, we don't think about bombings and all that. I mean, just you looking at her, she's dressed up, she's not exposing. The way you approach is completely different. Just the culture. So I think it's how they carry themselves over the bombings for South African men.
This is going to be a tricky one. I know that your knee-jerk reaction is going to be like, no. If you see a naked woman, do you feel you cannot respect her?
No.
Yeah. Depending on the cultural aspect.
The context.
Where
the context of it.
Crop top,
I don't respect you. That one is simple. I don't respect you.
Oh, is it?
Same woman, that context is completely different.
Matwela out, she's picking water from
I
the...
fully respect you because of that cultural context. But if we are at club, I don't go to clubs. I don't know what clubs are there in South Africa.
Yeah, I also don't know anymore.
Yeah,
They've
whatever
changed
those
over
clubs
time.
are that are in South
I think the
Africa.
Konka is Yavala. Not sure.
Yeah, whatever.
What's the reasoning behind this, guys? What is the reasoning? Yeah.
I'm socialized by American media that when you are in that space, you are that thing. And then you also validate it. You call yourself a bitch. You also assimilate to what we've seen in music videos from the USA. So now you want us now to like, no, bitch is just a word, but now there's the word bitch and the behavior as well as music videos. So now like how? Which one is it? So for me, that's why.
Dave Chappelle in one of his stand-up comedies makes an example of you in a space and someone collapses. And Utebs was wearing a white coat and a stethoscope.
Yep.
Doctor, please help.
100%.
And he's like, hey, Baba, who said I'm a doctor? It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's just you're wearing the doctor uniform.
Yebo.
And he's like, so with a lot of these women, I don't know whether you're a hoe or not, but you're wearing hoe uniform.
Yebo.
So I'm addressing you based on how you're dressed and our stereotypical view of that. I used to have dreadlocks in varsity and just after. The number of people that would walk past me, hey, Rastafari, hey, Ja.
I was called Ja lady, so I had to cut them off. Yeah,
you had to cut them off.
I had to.
You were getting respect. African queen.
Ja lady.
Hey, Ja lady, hey. You didn't like that?
People wanted to sell me dang. I didn't even know what dang was until I had dreadlocks. I had to buy dang.
But you got a lot of respect. So, guys were approaching you in a certain way.
I'm a black South African woman.
So the treatment wasn't different, is what you're saying?
I'm saying black South African women generally don't get respect.
I'm trying to figure out, sorry, just in your personal experience, when you had dreadlocks to now, has the treatment been the same or was it worse then or better then?
To be honest, depends on the context.
Just generally. So it's the same?
The same.
The same.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I had dreads and people would give me that. And then there'd be times when I'd grow my beard. There was a time my beard was at its max. The way even a woman speaks to you, the way other people when they approach you speak to you. Silly things like wearing a suit. Yep. A guy who wears a suit and comes in here, even us when we speak to him. So if even women can understand that, then they should be able to understand. We're not judging you per se. We're judging what we're being presented with. And if you want to change that, it's really up to you. You can break the mold. I'm a CEO. I'm a game changer and I want to wear a thong and it's fine. I'm going to break the mold. It's okay. Go be a trailblazer, whatever the case may be. Go break the rules. We appreciate that, of course. But for the average person, it's still going to be that.
I'm not a CEO. I'm not a trailblazer. I am a prostitute. Yeah. Am I less deserving of your respect?
No, now you're speaking about a profession now. We're speaking about a different setting. The profession is different.
Please answer the question.
Sir?
Please answer the question.
No, I'm saying that's a profession.
Yes, but please answer the question.
That's great.
Oh, you're answering it.
So you don't mind an actual prostitute? Is it? We're not allowed to say prostitute. I think it's called a sex worker now.
Prostitute is derogatory.
Yeah. We had a sex worker on the show, on the Conversation Capital. I watched the Conversation Capital.
Edit that out. We don't need any pop shout-outs that...
No, yeah, and she taught us that I think you have to say sex worker. I also didn't know that until then. I had to double check, yeah.
A lot of these things were not taught, man, that we can't call a person this and a that. And
Yeah, true. I'm not even going to say it out loud, but I learned that the way we would call Indians in SA is actually derogatory.
It is derogatory.
That one,
I did not know that. I thought it was like just the way South Africans said it.
One of the cool things
Until
is that
recently.
the Indian community generally lets it slide.
Yeah.
Is it?
But that's got to do with self-validation
Exactly.
and not needing... You're not going to lose your money. Like, oh, you
it
want to
means
call me
nothing.
that? As long as you want to leave your money here, bosh.
You'll buy by my
Leave your money here and let's keep it moving.
I didn't know that. But okay, fine. So you're saying that if it's a profession and she is a sex worker, you can give her respect in that context. But she's a young girl. She comes from home. She was wearing jeans. She took the jeans off, shoved them in her bag. Then you can't respect her. Then she went to go groove, half naked. And she didn't leave her home with her mother and father dressed like
She's
that.
not a prostitute, though.
No.
Let
me
That's
refine,
when you...
let me refine your question.
Yeah.
Do you have more respect for prostitutes than ordinary women who dress like
Yes.
sex workers?
Yes.
And maybe the question would be why?
Yeah. No, that's you're working for survival.
Okay.
For survival.
No.
Is that the story of sex workers?
No, not all of them, guys.
Okay.
Yes, man. You know, some people...
Because you're making it seem like it's a sad thing. Like, oh,
no,
but she's surviving.
it's for you to survive. Only you've got a kid, you need to take care of your grandparents or whatever. You know, you're making a plan. The issue with the other person is that you want me to view you differently. You want me then to also respect you. Like, when you see me, you want me to impose a certain on how I must view you. But your behavior has that behavior of that prostitute.
But why do you treat her worse than a prostitute? Why do you respect her worse than a prostitute? Why don't you just give her the same respect? Like,
No,
hey,
the
I
prostitute
think
made
this is a sex worker.
They made a decision that I'm going to prostitute for survival. The other one, it's trickery. We don't know if you're a prostitute, you're not a prostitute, and you want us
Is
to
it
treat
because
you
she's
in
not
a certain
presenting
way.
herself as a sex worker?
Yeah, she must just present herself as a
That's
sex
all.
worker. Yeah,
Your issue is just that.
Yeah, Nadia Pais, okay, sharp.
Pen?
But now, yeah.
No, but now?
No, but now you want us now to view you differently. That's just my thing. But generally, me as with them, I don't respect people who just love showing their bodies.
Even men.
I haven't seen it, so my mind can't even fathom. Can't even go
Half
that
naked
far.
men at the gym, the muscle top, the wife beater. You know those ones that come all the way down. They're
Maybe on
showing us there.
socialize. No, women will answer that. That thing's not a.
You
I
feel
don't
like
see
it's
them
not
in
a
the-
thing.
And men,
You don't mind male nudity. You mind female nudity.
This is going far.
No, not nudity like that.
Go gymming, grandy, or whatever. Mara in a space where we're a club.
Like
And
a
you
man's nipple does not offend you, but a woman's nipple does. I just want to understand that.
Where are we?
At a club.
Yeah, and she's wearing some lacy top, and you can see her nipple, and it's cute, and it offends you. A man
It
wearing a
doesn't
similar
offend me. I
lacy
just
top.
don't respect you. I don't even talk to you. I don't even approach you. So you and I won't even have the conversation in the first place.
Yeah.
Because
You have double standards.
yeah, it's fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And you also don't affect my life. So I can have my opinion and then we leave it at that. You're not going to talk to me. I'm not going to talk to you. So it doesn't really mean much. But I can have my opinion and we leave it at that. Once you try to convince me, then we can have the engagement.
Okay.
Yeah.
With you, Pen, what's that level of respect that you would offer, like a fully dressed woman versus a half naked woman? What's
At a club.
at,
The context. The
no,
context is...
to be honest, I'm talking. Yeah, Zoto Bantu, anybody. I just want to know what is it that says this one deserves my respect?
I'm trying to figure out if I actually judge women who are half naked. I'm trying to figure that out. I know I mentioned like Muslim women and the likes. It's tricky for me. I don't know, but I will say, I struggle respecting people who want to present themselves as something that doesn't fit in what they want to be treated differently from what they present as.
Exactly.
I think I have an issue with that. And that includes men, women, whatever the case may be. It's, you are a politician, you are a medical doctor, you are a preschool teacher, but we're at a place and now you're snorting cocaine and you're twerking and I mean, and I'm like, yo, but you're meant to be like a political leader of the people, or you're meant to be looking after young kids, but you're busy twerking and getting drunk. I don't know. I guess it's the misalignment, presentation versus what you want to be seen as. Maybe I struggle with that. But in terms of women who are mostly naked,
And she's not claiming to be a Christian girl.
she's just a normal chick. Do I
Yeah.
look at her worse? I'm not like Debs, where I look at a woman who's half naked. I'm like, ew. Nah, I don't think I have an issue with that. I have an issue with women who pretend to be high moral and then the stereotype that they're pushing. I've got celebrity examples. I just won't mention the names.
Yeah, you know,
Where I'm like, no, you can't be a child of the Most High and Jesus is my savior and what. Then when I look at how you're moving, I'm like, this is not Christian behavior. It's like, oh, but Pen, you're not a Christian. I'm like, this has got nothing to do with me. It's got to do with this institution they claim to represent. I'm like, no, man.
and some of them, this thing of, look, I'm this girl, I behave this certain way that we're speaking about. And then there's this thing of, are we marriage material? That thing is boxed in a certain way. For a man to marry a woman, she has to dress a certain way. Unless you are these boys, I can't, even those guys
So
who
judgy.
marry these girls, and it doesn't
So
make
judgy.
sense. But anyway, majority of the men, because one of the issues, as Pen now is speaking, is that they want to be this thing that, like, I can also be marriage material and still be this thing. And I'm like, but how? How does that make sense? You can't want to be this woman who's clubbing every single weekend. You are dressing in this certain type of way, and then you say, can you also view me as marriage material? Can you also view me as a Christian? I'm like, now you're confusing us.
I'm a leader. Trust me. I'm reliable. But I'm
Kanjani?
always emotional and I get triggered. I'm like, yo, I don't think I can vote for you.
No.
Khwezi emotional, wena.
No.
Okay.
YouTube career.
Are we not shutting it down now?
No.
Last question.
No problem.
YouTube career. Pen.
Oh, someone asked if the money I'm making is enough to sustain my kids. Not the online money on its own. No.
Pen. Why did the Penuel show change to Konvo? I don't like it. Clarify, please.
Sure.
Financially, is YouTube paying you good money? What's your goal or vision for your podcast? Would you accept investment or funding to grow your podcast? What exactly do you want? Are you good with how things are now?
That's a good one. These questions were actually good. They have a balance of personal and some
I just
business.
noticed now it's that same, I'm going to try to say your name right now, finally, at P. Tyson. Yeah.
This person's getting
You've
a lot
been
of
asking,
airtime.
No, Shane, you know what?
They're your
She grouped the questions so well. You know, that, like she took everybody's questions and she sort of gave summaries. You really did a good job. Yeah, shout out to her.
Is it the English?
No. It's not even the English. It really is because there are many
Then you
questions.
find out it's a gent.
She has a way of grouping.
They
That
have a way of
was
grouping.
flirty. Yeah, there's a flirty winky. Okay, yeah, but yeah, maybe they. Yeah. They just grouped the questions really well. Yeah, because I just noticed that it's them again.
No, YouTube doesn't pay that well, but we appreciate that they share some of their revenue. Number one, I mentioned this earlier. I'm 70% sure of what I'm doing now, which is not good enough, but it's on its way. I've said this a couple of times on platforms, but I will say it again because it's being asked. Myself and Utibo Khokibine, my partner, who's busy making noise in the background, had different visions for this platform from when we started to kind of where we are now. And in back and forth discussions, there was Codesa compromises in various ways. And in that, I was like, look, my name is sensitive and I'd like to get it back. He wasn't happy with it, by the way. He loved the Penuel show. I was like, depending on where this goes, because he's always had a vision of adding other types of content and other shows here. I didn't think it made sense to call all of that the Penuel show. And I was like, can we give it a new name? And he named it Konvo. And in doing that, I got to get back my name, my masters. I got back my name, which I then put on my channel. My personal channel is now called The Penuel Show. And this is now Konvo, which can house whatever without it carrying this thing of my name. So that if anyone comes on, Ursula and TCC come on here, Catch the conversation capital on the Penuel show. Huh? So I felt, I'd like to think Utebza agrees that this is better and it's more generic and it's not tied to a person. So when I get accused of a whole lot of rubbish things, at least my name is, it hits me only and it doesn't hit any other things that are involved with me.
Debza,
Yeah, no, he's correct. Everything.
are you still upset that it's no longer the Penuel show, or you...
You sharp.
Blue Magic, that's a brand name. It's very dangerous to use your name, man. It's very dangerous, especially when you have a lot of different stakeholders. So I'm just trying to think of an analogy because there are so many women who retain their husband's surnames, and I realize they do it for their own careers, or whatever the case may be.
I
But
think Tina Turner was one of them.
is it?
Yeah, I mean,
There's
she
a
had
couple of South
grown up
African
with the name
examples.
and she refused to change.
To change the husband's name after divorce. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah.
From the movie, the movie, what I understand is that, yeah, she was Tina Turner. Everybody knew Tina Turner. And then she got into like a really like abusive relationship with the husband.
Yeah.
This is from the movie. I don't know how true it was. And then she was like, no, I can't give back Turner. Like, that's my stage name.
That's my stage name.
Yeah.
Now. And that's okay.
Hey, that's good, man. Hey, so I think sometimes this thing of changing surnames should be based on belief in the powerhouse of that surname. Sometimes.
I think that's what it is. I think that's why these women keep these surnames. If they didn't believe in them. But yeah, man, I think a name is very sensitive. I mean, we could call this Kibine as a
Hey, man,
Hi, guys. Welcome to Konvo and Kibine.
Hi, man. I've got many flaws, man. Now the giving is there.
So it's very sensitive, more than anything. And at a time, I had a vision, and it was also inspired by other podcasters overseas who had platforms with their names. But because there was a difference in vision, it was like, okay, look, let's carry on working, but let's tweak some of these things. And that was one of the things we tweaked. And yes, it's not nice, and we started off as something else, but it's okay. People will adjust. It's fine.
You didn't answer the part of would you receive investment or funding to grow the podcast?
Debza, would you take investment to grow specifically Konvo as a channel?
Yeah, but the investment must work on my terms. If it doesn't, I know. It's okay.
And you know that won't happen, right?
Yeah, that's why we've got other as long as we've got other streams of inyugo that are coming in to sustain the
Because
business.
people are going to come here and want to tell you certain things. Hey, you know, my friend Ursula would like to come on the show. It's like, kwanje ngoba ufaka 10 meter lo mjida manje kumele si.
That's true.
You don't want that.
If we have another stream of income, then we can decide. But if we don't have, I think I'll fold. Yes.
You take money that is almost like a loan. Here's money. Do what you can. Let's see if we can make money and share some of it with me. But do your thing, homie.
Loan.
I won't be involved in creative direction, in whatever. I just want to give you 50 million. Do your thing. And in the 50 million, just share the financials. And then for 50 million, maybe I'm buying a 50% stake. So whatever profits we make, just give me my 50% cut. But buy more equipment, bring more shows, whatever the case may be.
50 million per now, I'm at least like 2 million. Then I would say no. But 50, I think I would. I think.
Would you like to sell the channel one day?
No, man. No, hey, man. You know, the thing about the platform, you're almost at your full honesty, you know. The thing with the other stuff we do, it's controlled by, you know.
You can
the
go create
stakeholders,
another
you know.
channel.
Yeah, but I'm saying this, no, man. This, man, it has an element of passion plus.
You're
the
planning to
element
not sell
of-
this.
I haven't thought of selling, but for now, it's a no.
100
but I
million.
might fold. Hey, 100 meter.
Hey, no, no, buya ntwana kanti ubuthini?
100 meter, but I must still run it.
No.
No. When you think of some of the other moves that people make, no, I must still be in it. No. You think of ridiculousness, the guy still in it. The hot ones was also sold, still in it. No, I want to be in it. Sell, but still be in it. But sell
As an
outright.
employee.
Yeah.
But they can fire you at any time.
Penzo, I must still have shares and still be in it.
10%. And that
Stake.
includes a voting share.
You know when
This example
you know,
keeps
hey, these
me
examples are crazy. You know when you understand, because I've been through this thing of partnerships and whatnot. The stake that makes sense starts from 15%, yes. Under that, you don't have full, you don't have much
Including voting rights, 15%.
power. 15, yeah.
Which means you get steamrolled every time.
But at least get already sharing as a 15 and I'm still working in the business.
Yeah, but at 15%, it means when I spend money, I can spend it however I want, including companies that are mine that are supplying. So the profit, 1,000 rand. And when we have to vote, you only have 15%.
Penuel, you're definitely defecting the question. The question is to you. And now you're putting, you know, would you take investment?
Since we're here at Konvo, I wanted us to cover Konvo.
Okay.
In terms of my personal channel, only if it's no strings attached except to share financials and to be very fair in sharing profits. Okay. Which means fair even if it includes lawyers and the like.
You're very passionate about lack of censorship or lack of censorship. Like you don't want to be censored. I don't know if I'm using the right word here. But you don't want to be censored.
I don't want money. Money would be nice to go. But if you're bringing money and then you want to start saying something, I'm like, please take your money back. Because I don't need your money. I'm okay.
100 million.
Otherwise, I don't know, man. If people start speaking...
100 million.
You know,
let me tell you, I speak on behalf of the whole TCC team. We will take it.
What's your price? What's your minimum price for TCC? And what are you guys selling?
I wouldn't know. I haven't thought of that. I really wouldn't. I
no,
wouldn't
just
know.
thumbsuck. We're here just for vibes.
I really wouldn't know.
1 million rand.
I read 300,000. We'll keep it.
1 million rand per shareholder. So 1 million rand coming to you. 2 million.
No shares, no nothing. It's no longer my baby.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
3 million.
You're talking per shareholder?
Huh?
You're talking per shareholder?
Yeah, per shareholder.
I'm talking to you. Given might be like, hey, Baba, 50,000, Baba. So we're speaking for you. Don't speak for other people because their amounts will probably vary.
I can still go off and start my own thing again?
So part of what I was asking is, what are you selling? Because what if they're like, no, we want to retain you as an employee. We'll pay you what we deem as a fair salary. You can go.
This is a tough question.
You can go do your own thing. You can go start another TCC elsewhere.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Then.
20,000.
I can do it again. That's what I mean.
20,000.
So how much? 1 million for you?
No, million.
If you can do it again.
You think what you've built right now is worth more than 1 million? You think the episodes you've got and all those
No. I'm
things
saying where it's going to is worth more than 1 million.
No, but the person wants to buy today.
I hear you. But when you buy something, you also buy its potential.
That's got nothing to do with you.
It does.
Maybe I just want to collapse TCC.
That's like saying, we just want to collapse it. We're done.
No, it's got nothing to do with you. I want to buy it. I'm asking, how much money do you want for the channel? You, Wena, personally.
It's a tough one. That's my baby. But like you're saying, I can start another one again.
10,000.
No. Like I said, because of potential and where, you see something is growing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough question. Yeah, I know that 1 million is not enough.
5 million?
Now we're talking. Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
5 million. Hectic. Okay.
Yeah. Now we're talking. Anything above 3, I must be honest.
You would.
I'd say to the team, it's been a great 3 years.
I will sell out.
I would because we can buy equipment, we can start it again. We'll be fine, guys. 3 years of our life, 3 million in 3 years. I'm good with that.
1 million a year.
That's why I'm like 50,000.
3 million.
Or maybe 100,000. Or 200,000. You guys will sell out.
No.
If there's no restraints of trade and you're going and can start somewhere, you just be selling your equipment and your subscribers at a premium nyana and you move.
But 50
minimum is 20 million, man.
For you?
Yeah, 20.
For Konvo. For Konvo. So you think Konvo is worth
Leave YouTube money. Think about
the potential, like the merch.
Yeah,
but it hasn't been done.
But it hasn't been done.
It hasn't been done. That means nothing. You can't be like, well, we still want to do events. And we wanted to bring Oprah. You don't have Oprah. You don't have events.
That's because you have to
merch.
grow something first, right?
I think that's what I'm saying.
Speaking about that now.
I hear you. And I said what I said.
I said what I said.
Said what I said.
Whatever.
1 million is too little.
If we were to actually get people to value podcasts,
People do value podcasts.
Podcasters would be multimillionaires on
People do
valuation.
value podcasts.
Oh, no, we're not speaking about the same thing. I'm talking about a valuation.
Okay.
Like
General.
getting people who do valuations to come and value. The problem is there's something called key man something, which is specific individuals that are key to the success of it. That's where you start realizing where the value actually lies. Because a YouTube channel with some equipment nyana and what is almost
It's
worth
nothing.
nothing. But if you look at the platform, the subscribers, the turnover, a lot of the podcasts are worth multiples of millions, multiples, just on revenue alone. But then you'd have to be like, we need these two guys, or we need this lady. Then you're like, game. And that would be a really great exercise for people to actually realize what's valuable. Because that camera we can buy over and over and over. But can we buy Sizwe? Can we get another Sizwe? Can we get another Debza? Can we get another me? And you're like, out of 20 minutes, our pen is maybe worth 2 nyana. You're like, okay. So now we have an idea of, no, we can get another pen. Maybe at 500,000. But the rest of us actually build this thing. When Umfundi Vundla and the Generations guys are sitting, and it's like, you're underpaying us. And Umfundi Vundla's like, sure, Vayan. And then he rebuilds this thing because people don't really know their value. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
We're wrapping up.
we're not done, Gandhi.
I know. I just feel it really an injustice not to address this one. At CPPMJ, do you think without DJ Sbu, you would have been able to grow your podcast as quick as you did? Or would you have got the reach that you have today?
It's a really great question.
I also think so.
But you've addressed this so many times. But anyway,
There's someone that hasn't heard it
yeah.
and that'd like me to address it. Okay, I think Debza has an answer first.
No, I have no answer, sir. I'm laughing.
No, I'd like you to answer first, then I'll answer.
No, it's your.
Yes, but I just like your opinion.
It's your party, yeah?
No, Pen. I mean,
Do you think without DJ Sbu, specifically Konvo would be the platform it is today? And yeah, Konvo, obviously speaking about me as one of the people that was there at the gate and as the podcast host.
aye, man. You've been podcasting before DJ Sbu, man. Pen has like been there for some time. I guess the popularity then of like a Sbu maybe does elevate. But I think he would have still been
Same.
as far as he is.
Same.
Without
Sbu.
Yep.
So come 2022, Sbu doesn't call me on to the Hustlers Corner.
Yeah.
Or maybe he calls me for one interview and then it's done. And then come August 2022, we start the Penuel show. We'd be exactly where we are today.
Yes.
Mind you, in the same month, I was also on Podcast and Chill.
Yeah, get on not speaking about the podcast and chill.
Is that a different answer for you?
Yeah, that would be a different answer. But that we're taking out.
Do you think Podcast and Chill put Penuel on?
No, none of them did. None of them put Penuel on, in my
It'd
opinion.
still be the same.
It would still be
Without
the same.
Sbu, without Podcast and Chill.
Yeah. There's podcasts that Pen when I did, I think
It was during the riots.
Yeah.
So whenever the riots were,
At the
July
Yellow
2021 or something.
that people were watching. I don't think so, personally.
Okay. Nkululeko Nkewu agrees with you. I'm not sure about Nota. Maybe not. I don't think he'd agree with you. But Nkululeko was like, I think he said it on this platform that he's like, it annoys him because it's like, no, man. I always knew you were gonna be dope, and people have differing views. Please read the question again so I can answer the question.
Do you think you would have made it without Sbu?
CCPMJ. No, it's got something to do with Accelerate.
Got such good memory. Yeah. CPPMJ. Do you think without DJ Sbu, you would have been able to grow your podcast as quick as you did?
No.
That's an important part. As quick as you did.
No.
Okay. Or would you have the reach that you have today?
Yes. Grow it as quick as we did? No. Have the reach that we have today? Yes. So that's what I think what Debs was speaking to.
Maybe let's remove the today. So we would have eventually had the reach. Because growing it as quick means that you would have the reach that you have today.
So shout out to DJ Sbu, man. DJ Sbu gave me a platform. He didn't need to. And we had a really good thing going with the Hustlers Corner and the Virtual Mkuku. And I was introduced to his audience, whatever his audience was, number one. And number two, the brand association. Sbu's a big deal to this day.
Yes.
On every platform, his legacy in the media space and in other spaces. And he became my older brother. It's almost asking Sol Penduga maybe about Kai FM. I think Sol could have gotten to Kai FM, but as quickly as he did without Podcast and Chill and MacG, no. But could Sol have gotten on Kai FM? I believe so. So Sbu accelerated a lot of things. And by the time I dropped my own podcast, all of that momentum, thanks to him, I have to say had a huge factor. So yes, there was a lot of acceleration. There was a lot of brand leverage and. Now, without Sbu, Debs was like, Ntwana, I'm ready. Let's do this thing. Because we spoke about it back in 2021. And from that point, with all the people I'd met, that I'd known, my guests that I got here, I have to add 2 today because I think that's the measurement. I believe we'd be here. There's a danger, which I'll add. There's a danger that what we were building at that time was impacted with what I'd done with Sbu. I assume that it's a good impact. Other people could be like, hey, you had to carry that for a while where you should have let it go much earlier because people would have immediately gone into. There are many people that don't know MacG, the radio guy. But now if it was MacG who just come off radio to start podcasting, maybe it would have been like, say, Manje Ntwana on radio. And it's like, this thing is wasting my time. Can I just podcast and then? But I'd like to think way more positive impact. Would I have grown as quickly? I don't think so. Would I have the reach, or would we have the reach that we have today? I believe so. Yeah. But I, even as an individual, man, grew a lot from Sbu. The mentorship, the way you interview, and I learned a lot from him. I have to give him kudos probably forever. I think a good example, and I'm taking liberties here, and I apologize. I think a good example is Kanye and Jay-Z. I think Jay-Z put Kanye on in a big way. But I think Kanye would have been ginormous even without Jay-Z. Jay-Z happened to be the platform that worked for him at the time. So, yeah.
I think we can wrap it up.
Debs, the closing words?
Yeah, this was great.
So we're changing Konvo to Kibine. Kibine Media. Think about it. I know it's a thing, but just as a
The
thought.
camera needs to be on you. Your facial expressions are so funny.
Kibine Media.
Yeah,
As a channel.
yeah, man.
This show, this one can be called Konvo.
Yeah, giving it just to grow the giving the people, unpacking some of our issues. Because slowly I'm getting to a point where I just want to speak about, the family so that it impacts other people. Because you know what you have over other people, and some people don't understand that, is that you're very open. And we need more people like you. And the more you're open, the more some of us also question a few things. So I think I'll have the giving the media thing.
Because once
which
you
we'll
start bringing
speak
other
about.
shows, it's going to be weird for this to be Konvo and Konvo.
Well, I
and
need
then
to-
other shows have a different name. So this can be Konvo on Kibine Media.
I'll have given a media to solve giving the issues from all aspects. Yeah.
You'll think
Yeah.
about it.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Yes. You want to say something? No?
No, shame. We can actually chat about it off camera, but we can chat about it now. I'm just thinking about the idea of being open as a positive thing, and people weaponizing that vulnerability, and because I know that you go through phases where you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't shared that. I overshared here, blah 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 blah, and
Vulnerability hangover. You taught me that term.
yeah, and so I've been struggling with this a lot because you've already said it during this podcast that I'm not somebody who shares a lot of my personal life.
Yeah.
But there is a power. And I learned this the day there was somebody who was molesting people that was exposed. And I remember a story of hearing him like 6 months later in the club living his best life, like the best life he's been living in a while. And there was something about it that made me realize the worst thing that could possibly happen had happened to him. In the sense that now, like, his big secret was out there. And he was liberated. You know, the worst thing that could happen to him was
he was molested.
Molesting.
Please carry on. Yeah, the story is weird.
Yeah, it's a very weird story. And I hate that if I enter into details, people will know what and who and how I'm talking about. It's a public story. But I remember within Johannesburg. But I remember hearing about his movements afterwards, and I realized that this person's actually, like, the worst thing has happened and they actually have been liberated. And so there's something about secrecy that can keep you very bound and hostage.
This is such a bad example.
Yeah, it is a bad example because we don't want, like, people celebrating the fact that I get what you're saying. It is a bad example.
Horrible example.
But I'm just saying I learned there that secrets can actually keep you quite hostage. Yeah, bad example. I agree. You understand what I'm saying there? But I still leave room for saving a bit for the Kibine family. You know, I still leave room for this is ours.
It's important to know who you are, especially those of us who are relatively new in media, who haven't been media trained, who don't know what it means to be like a celebrity or a big celebrity. We're trying to find our feet, and we're obviously going to make a lot of mistakes. And then we start copying what we see other people doing. And you're like, hey, should we invite this guest? Hey, should we do something sensational? Our numbers look, and it's like, hey, who are you? Who are you should always be your guide. And as much as you see that, you must be like, oh, that's dope, but it's not me. Because you have to live with yourself, hopefully forever. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to go copy other people because you see them being liberated by sharing their vulnerabilities, you might not be able to recover. You might not feel free. You might become a hostage after, where you're actually free with your secrets. Now you're a hostage because everyone's, hey, where's your dad and your mom? I remember your brother
doing. And now you're
ashamed.
Like, yeah, okay.
Now you are.
I hear you.
We were doing charity work in the
the
Joburg CBD, and I was with this guy, and we were with two celebrities, and the guy was like, "I never ever want to be a celebrity," and I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "These guys are like animals in a zoo. Everyone wants to grab them and what. No one worries about me, and I feel free. Now I've been vulnerable. Now at any given time, people can use that, and now they trigger you and they whatever. Whereas it was a sacred thing for you." I want to make an example with what you were saying, but it's different from what you're saying. I believe one of the reasons the Black nation in general is struggling to progress is because of secrets. There are secrets that protect. And I'd like to think a lot of people that keep secrets keep them because they believe they are protecting. Sometimes themselves, sometimes other people. But there are secrets that destroy. I was with my brother watching rugby, and part of the conversation went to high performance people and families. And I told him, I think with my little bit of experience, high performance people, groups, it could be a production house. Ray Dalio speaks about this. He's a billionaire that runs a hedge fund. Brutal honesty. And when you watch Chasing the Sun 2, or when I was watching Chasing the Sun 2, which is the story of how the Springboks won back-to-back World Cups, I realized one of the reasons the Springboks are so successful is because they are brutally honest. If the one guy's missing a tackle, missing kicks, falling short, it's like, Ntwana, you've dropped the ball. You realize last week's episode wasn't that great. I'm sorry. The sound. And you don't take offense because we're trying to build high performance. There are people that take offense to that. And then you worry. And I think most people are like that. And it's the reason you'll never be able to become high performance because you struggle with brutal honesty. But if you're trying to build just generally a nation of winners, you don't necessarily have to be brutally honest. But man, you're Kivine, Mlocho, Mariani, and then you find out your grandmother lied. And it like messes you up in so many ways. And it's like, you could have just been honest. I could have built something else or done something else. But I've been fighting with so many people, and someone said, Nina, no kumalo. Npume like, ay, Mozulu, What? You're like, oh, yeah, that's funny that you say that. And I'm like, that's why we can't become high performance as a community. There are times to like lie and what, but I was just going on that thing of secrets and liberation, that we speak about apartheid and we speak about the economy but a lot of black families are never going to thrive just because they are held hostage by those secrets. And they're scared to be vulnerable that, look, I made mistakes. I used to do this. And the child is like, hey, this is a lot to deal with, but now we can do something. But as long as we're lying and we don't understand, we're like, no, it's spirituality. No, it's because of madlos. You're lying. How are you going to build? No, the Springboks are not winning games because there's a dark cloud and because of apartheid. And you're like, no, dog, it's because you're not hitting the gym.
That's it.
It's because you're not running fast. It's because you keep picking the wrong O. But Ibafana must go win the World Cup. But you're not being honest about our nutrition, our fields, the coaches, about Danny Jordan at the PSL. We're lying. How the hell are we going to pull the World Cup winning team if we're lying? No, no. You can see it. It's there. And this is sports. Are you scoring goals? Are you defending? Do you have a good goalkeeper? It's not rocket science. You want to build a strong black economy, but you're not selling. Your kids are not learning how to sell. You're not building businesses. You're not funding each other. You're just lying. No, the thing is apartheid. While utenga ku Abdul. Utenga ku Abdul, uhambe uyothenga ku Van der Merwe, and then you're like, no, the thing is abantu abamnyama. You're like, you're fucking lying. And when you're brutally honest, then people call you names.
Yeah.
Oh, Penuel Valley are sellouts, and they suffer from self-hate. They don't like black people, and you're like, this is why we can't be high performance.
And black people don't like the truth. That's another thing. That's why this thing of the Kibine thing, being brutally honest, because also that makes you adjust a certain way of living. Because you might think that certain way of living is the truth. Now I'll give you I almost said radical example. The Xhosas and the Sothos have got initiation. Go to the mountains, Machita, come back. If you guys are brutally honest, you'd ask yourself, is society progressing because of that initiation? Do boys go there and men come back that progress society? But because it's a secret, you're not even allowed to ask those questions. Because like in what happens there is a secret, you can't speak about it. But as soon as you're honest, you're like, is society getting better because of that? Then we can have a conversation that can shift culture to speak about, is it the best practice? What do they actually speak about? Does it bring back men who are not abusers, men who build economies, men who can do da. But because it's a secret, we can't even engage if it's a good practice. I was just using that as
No, but that's a good example.
Yeah, as an example. So I'm just saying, even generally in our families, like maybe this Mdala shouldn't be the leader of this family. Age doesn't mean anything. But because everything is secret, is the older one, you can't question, you can't. So the more vulnerable and the more we speak about issues within our families, I think the more we can get better and progress as families. Because once you fix the family unit, it's done.
I really thought being open and vulnerable about my family and my life would not only be good for my family, but would heal and inspire so many other people. To what I'm saying now about the Springboks, you can't be brutally honest with all rugby players in the country. They are not high performance people. You test. Hey, Dwana, you must do a bit. Why are you criticizing? Oh, I'm sorry, Dwana, I'm sorry. I can't work with this guy.
Yeah.
Until you find this, it's not by accident that it's a certain crop of people in a certain space. And it's not just a bunch of white Afrikaners from the Western Cape or it's certain kids that over time, when you interrogate, you realize this kid, every time they told him, you're too small, you're too what, he went back and he
did
worked.
Something about it, yeah.
And that's why today when he has to fight and compete with the world, he's not naive. He's like, I know I'm small. I know I'm a bit slow, but I'm gonna... And then you're like, hey, how is this guy defeating this? It's like, no, because I'm brutally honest. All the other guys that were bigger than me, faster than me, who are lying to themselves, they left behind. I mean, I'm here now.
Netflix, it's called Radical Honesty, but with the intent to grow. So not with the intent
the story of Netflix.
Yeah, the story of Netflix. That's part of the principles. Radical honesty with the intent to grow.
Ray Dalio has the same thing in his team, by the way.
And then the other thing is they speak about in Netflix that we are a team and not a family. He says in families, you don't hold each other accountable. I can't be honest with you in a family. But in a team setting, I can. Because there's only one goal, and it's for us to win.
It's sad that
And
they
for-
made that example.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I hear you.
Sure. Yeah. So.
Because families are meant to be that.
Yes, and they're not. So the fact
They're
that
meant to hold each other accountable. They're meant to have a common
Yes.
vision to be like, look, you might be angry today and not like me, but we're trying to build a successful family.
Yeah.
So you and your fragile ego and your whatever, your sister's a better leader than you. No, but no. Until you outperform your sister, you don't deserve.
Exactly.
But then we lie to each other and we don't understand why
Yeah.
our families are not.
Sad example, but it's the truth. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
it's written down that we're not a family but a team because of that very same thing. They realize that in the family there's a disconnect, and we don't want that disconnect to come into this space of Netflix and the team. That's why we're saying team. It's intentional. That when I tell you, I'm like, this thing is wrong, don't do it. And you're like, okay, I understand, and we can unpack the why. So
I guess the lesson
Yeah.
for me is in sharing my honesty or whatever, I must be selective of who I share it with. And it must be with the intention of radical or brutal honesty with the desire to progress.
yeah,
This may include my children, may include their mothers. To be like, if they are not high performance people, however you want to use the term, then let me protect them in some way. But then I'll be whispering to this child or this mom that, A, and if I see they can handle it, they'll be like, yeah, but you're a failure. You also did this. I'll be like, because some of the conversations which I've tried to share on platforms is some of the mothers of my kids have held me to account and asked questions. But what about this? And I thought that was great. Let me share it. That guys, even in these dynamics, the mother's like, but should you share your kids? Should you? One of the things was me saying to the mothers of my kids, look at AK and Zintle and them and posting Cairo. Look at Will Smith and Jada and Willow and Jaden. And the one mom was like, yeah, but your brands are completely different. You're controversial, you're polarizing. Bona, they can do that. Kabelo Mabalan and Kale, I was like, hey. I'm like, you know what? Let me actually go back and think about this thing. And I appreciate that. I'm like, we're going somewhere here. Should I put my kids on? I put my kids on. It's like, hey, I'm not sure. Maybe wait for their age. Maybe wait for the child to be. Because I did a podcast with 2 of my kids. I've tried for the past 2 years and I asked them and they were like, not really sure. And I'm like, sure. That's okay. But even now, can you take do you want to be seen as my child? Should I? Anyways, I'm glad we're closing off with this because that's very important. And especially in the space we're in, and even with my audience that's asking that question, I also need to be very sure of what I'm answering, who I'm answering, the audience that's listening, because unfortunately, many people haven't earned the right to maybe hear what I have to say. And as much as maybe I can take a lot of the hits, I have to protect a lot of other people. But the day some of us decide we want to be high performance and we want to build Silicon Valley, Hollywood, Dubai, the Springboks, whatever it is, it's going to have to be done. You're flop. And you can cry and kick and scream, but you must come back and be like, gents, I'm sorry I flopped. I'm going to work harder. Or gents, I think you're wrong. I didn't flop. This is what's going on. And we find a way and we move.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ursula Mariani. Appreciate you coming through to ask the questions.
Pleasure.
Did you enjoy this at all?
I think
For
it
yourself.
was lovely. I think it was
For
lovely.
yourself.
We branched off to quite critical, important conversation, which is important for me. Just having really good conversations. So I did enjoy it quite a bit.
Thank you for visiting us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
The first time you came here, you spoke about vulnerability hangover because we did touch on parts of your family, which you were like,
And everybody's like, she looks so cagey because I am. Anyway.
and you were cagey. I even tried to disarm you, and to this day, I still take hits for it. Oh my gosh, you're so pretty. I won't be able to look at you. And now I've had to deal with that nonsense ever since.
Let me not laugh.
I don't laugh too hard because people are like, hey, you actually are tired.
Yes, I'm always in trouble. I'm always in trouble for laughing.
Thank you. I appreciate the relationship we've built.
Yeah.
Professional and otherwise. I think it's been very healthy. I've criticized you a lot and you've come back to be like, hey, some of the things you've said, but I went to introspect and do you really think? And I'm like, you've criticized me a lot. And I think from the get, we both were like, hey, I've shared a lot with you. You've shared a lot with me to a point where I've told you, hey, you're oversharing. Stop it. And you're like, no, but. And I'm like, hey, Baba, no, not like this. But I think it's out of love and out of both of us wanting to be better in our craft and just as human beings. And the people you've been exposed to in my life and the people I've been exposed to in your life, I think it's been pretty dope. So I appreciate you and I thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming back.
Thank you so much.
Shout out to Given Bong and Asbo from your side. Don't know if I'm missing anyone. I met 2 of your friends, the podcast and music festival.
Shout out to the conversation capital.
Shout out to your family. I won't mention people's names because I know they're a huge part of your life.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Debza, nothing? Shout out to the Kibine family, Kibine Media. All right. Shout out to Sizwe Dube, who's in the room. Hopefully I'll have a sit down with him again soon. I don't know why he doesn't want a mic, but I have to sit with him soon so he can get everything off his chest. Love you, sis. Love Khumutso in his absence. Love MK, Q in his absence, Yenzi, everyone else who's involved. Thank you.